Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Mob Rules Index Codex check. I am Phil, the Glacial Geek, coming to you here for Mob Rules, going over the Index Codex here for 8th edition. We will be checking it out and finding out what goes on inside here and what to expect for those of you who worship the Dark Gods. So, checking it out just from the cover here, this covers the Heretic Astartes, the Chaos Demons, and the Quester Traitoris. So, open it up here. We've got a couple images from the old codexes. Going over the contents here. So it starts out, looks like it starts out with the Heretic Astartes, goes into the World Eaters, Thousand Sons, Death Guard, Emperor's Children. These are more, I think, they have like the special characters for each of these. I've heard that later on they're going to be coming out with the specific traitor rules once they start coming out with the codexes. So as of right now, the only special difference that you're going to have between the different legions is going to be their special characters that they can use. Then it goes into Chaos Demons, then specifically Demons of Khorne, Demons of Tzeentch, Demons of Nurgle, Demons of Slaanesh, back to Chaos Demons, which I think these are just like the bigger bros versus, or it just goes over the basics of this stuff, and then it goes into the special bros here, and then into the Renegade Knights and Chaos Bastion, and then it kind of goes over Battleforged armies and such. So, starting out here, it just kind of talks about the basics of what to expect on to read the different, what are they called? Data sheets on the different units, and it kind of goes over what each of the different things talks about. Then they have a little bit of kind of just like a bit of a fluff on the different legions that we have here, talking about their world and their primarchs and of the different legions that they had here. Then it goes into Chaos Space Marines, goes into talking about them, the organization of what Chaos Space Marines are, just a basic understanding of what that is. So then, starting out here, the Astartes army list. So, they have the different effects that the icons have. So, Icon of Wrath, which is Khorne units only. They can reroll their charge rolls for units with an Icon of Wrath. Icon of Flame, which is Tzeentch only. Start of the Psychic Phase. Roll a d6 on each unit with an Icon of Flame. On a roll of 6, inflict 1 mortal wound on the closest enemy unit within 12 inches of the model carrying the Icon of Flame. And then Icon of Despair. Enemy units that are within 3 inches of any unit with an Icon of Despair must subtract 1 from their leadership. That's pretty nasty. And then the Icon of Excess, Slaanesh. If a unit Icon Excess, its death to the False Emperor ability takes effect on any hit rolls of 5+ rather than just 6+, which is kind of cool. Death to the False Emperor, the ability here is common to several Heretic Astartes units. Each time you roll a hit roll of 6+ for a model with this ability in the fight phase, it can, if it was targeting an Imperium unit, immediately make an extra attack against the same unit using the same weapon. These extra attacks cannot themselves generate any further attacks, so it's like a one-time exploding dice kind of situation. So Slaanesh, it makes it a 5+ and a 6+, as opposed to just exploding on 6s. And the Icon of Vengeance cannot be taken by Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle, or Slaanesh units, so it can only be, I guess, non-aligned units. Add 1 to the leadership of all models in this unit has the Icon of Vengeance. Going over, they have the Psychic Disciplines here for the Dark Hereticus discipline. These are the disciplines that are going to be available to Psychers who are Chaos, because the way Psychic has changed, there's going to be a smaller list that you have here. You can either roll or choose the power that you want for them that's based out of there. So we've got Infernal Gaze, Warp Charge of 5, because you roll 2d6 now and you have to get above that number. If manifested, select a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker and roll 3 dice. The target suffers 1 mortal wound for each roll of 4+. Wow, that's pretty brutal. Then they have Warp Time. It's a 6+ warp charge. Manifests to pick a friendly Heretic Astartes unit within 3 inches of the Psyker. That unit can immediately move as if it was the movement phase. You cannot use Warp Time on a unit more than once in each psychic phase. And then Prescience. Select a Heretic unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. It's a value of 7. You can add 1 to all hit rolls made by that unit until the start of your next psychic phase. So it adds +1 to their ballistic skill, which is pretty brutal. Then they have the war gear. They have divided up, and they don't have the special rules here at this point. This is just divided up. So they have the champion equipment, the stuff they can take as a champion. They have the combi weapons, heavy weapons, special weapons, pistols, melee weapons, and Terminator melee weapons. So starting off here, we got the big bad boy himself, Abaddon. He has 7 wounds. So they've talked about having that characters now have more wounds than you're used to seeing because since they're by themselves, there's a chance of them getting caught out by themselves and caught out unawares where they can't really do anything about it. And in that case, you still want them to be able to survive longer than just getting, one-shotted really lucky. So now they've got a whole bunch of wounds there. He's got a whole bunch of extra stuff. He's got a 4+ invul save. And you also half all the damage taken by him, rounding up, which is that's pretty brutal. So, a damage of 1 will do 1, a damage of 2 will do 1, a damage of 3 will do 2, damage of 4 will do 2. Wow, that can get pretty brutal. Friendly Black Legion units that are within 6 inches can reroll any failed hits. He has Mark of Chaos Ascendant. Friendly Astartes, Heretic Astartes units automatically pass morale tests when they are within 12 inches of Abaddon Display, which is pretty big. A lot of the stuff that I've been seeing so far have mostly been within 6 inches or 3 inches, so 12 inches is a pretty big bubble there for it to have that. And he can also teleport in, which is an interesting way they've changed teleport. Now, you just place them more than 9 inches away from an enemy unit, and you just place them. No rolls, no nothing, so Abaddon is not going to suddenly have his base be a fraction of an inch over the table edge and thus be unable to be placed and roll a 1 on his mishap table and go away. So farewell scatter dice, farewell deep strike mishaps. Welcome to the world of actually making choices that can have good effects. Then you have Huron Blackheart. He's also got 5 wounds, and he gets to Huron and his Hamadra. Hamadra? I don't know if I'm definitely not saying that right. They come together there. So you've got after Huron Blackheart is manifested psychic powers, Hamadra can lend him additional powers if still alive. If he is still alive. If it does so, Huron Blackheart can immediately attempt to manifest an additional psychic power. That's pretty good because a lot of them now just have the psychic power. They can just cast the 1 power unless they're told. Well, it says Huron can attempt to manifest 1 psychic power in each friendly psychic phase and attempt to die 1 psychic power in each enemy psychic phase. Because now denying it has to be done by a psyker, and it can only be done. You can only try once per psyker, really. Once per psyker, and you just have to. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I have to look up that. But yeah, that's the way it works. So coming over to here is something I'm a little bit interested in, is Cypher and the Fallen. I painted up some when they came out with the rules for them in the Gathering Storm, and I'm interested to get them back onto the table. So we have Cypher here. He has 5 wounds. He's got his unique pistols, his Bill pistol and plasma pistol, because his stuff is a little bit different than everyone else's. Pardon me. And then you go into his abilities. He can use his pistols in your shooting phase, even if he is advanced or fallen back in the same turn. That's pretty cool. Cypher has a 4+ invul. In addition, on a roll a d6 if Cypher is slain. On a roll of a 2+, Cypher's model is still removed from play, but he is not considered to have been slain for the purposes of any mission victory conditions. So he can deny you Slay the Warlord with that, which is pretty brutal, pretty awesome. And then Lord Cypher can reroll hits of 1 made for friendly Fallen units within 6 inches of Cypher. So again, to the 6-inch bubble for the Fallen, which are the squad down here. Their base squad is going to be 5. You can add an additional 5 to make them a 10-man squad, which is pretty standard. Any model can replace its bolt gun with a chainsword. Up to 4 Fallen can choose one of the following options. Replace the bolt pistol with a plasma pistol. Replace the bolt gun with 1 item from the combi weapons or special weapons list. Replace bolt pistol and bolt gun with 2 lightning claws, and take 1 item from the melee weapons list. So yeah, you get to change a whole lot of different things with them, which is pretty cool. Keeps them a pretty diverse unit that you've got the ability to do there. and a lot of fun. So I'm excited to kind of get these guys back on the table for a couple battle reports or whatnot. Not sure if I would run them as anything bigger than just a smaller kind of report, but it'll be interesting to see. They can also reroll. The Fallen can reroll hit rolls of 1 for any Fallen unit when shooting, including when firing Overwatch, as long as the unit did not move in the last movement phase. In addition, Fallen units can never lose more than 1 model as a result of a single failed morale test. So that's pretty cool, because morale, at this point, morale, I guess their leadership is 8, standard 8, 9 if they've got their champion with them. So you're if it's 8, you're going to have to lose 3 guys in a turn to really lose anybody. But if you have that one bad turn and you lose a whole bunch of guys and you don't want to lose, you have a 10-man squad and you happen to lose 4 and then you roll that 6 and suddenly you've got losing an additional 10 guys, additional 2 guys, you only have to lose 1, which is pretty cool. Because otherwise that could really stack up pretty hard. We've got Fabius Bile over here. Looks like standard 5 wounds again. 6 attacks, pretty brutal. At the beginning of each turn, Fabius Bile heals D3 wounds, so he can just keep regenerating unless you take him out real quick. And with 5 wounds, with a 3+ save, and he's got it can get pretty brutal there. So you've got to take him out pretty quick, otherwise he's going to be sticking around for a long time, which I guess is part of what he does. He can also enhance a unit of Heretic Astartes infantry, so that's not including vehicles, not including monstrous creatures or anything like that, just infantry, but not characters. They refuse his dubious honor of gifts when they're within 1 inch of him at the end of any movement phase. Roll a d6 for each model in the unit. The unit suffers 1 mortal wound for each roll of 6. Oh man, only the strong survive. Bile's experimental cocktails. Then roll a d3 referred to the table below. So they can get +1 strength, +1 toughness, or +1 attack. Pretty brutal, and you can also, if you happen to roll well, I guess. If you roll a lot of 6s, so if your dice are hot, maybe don't try this. All right, moving on here, we have your basic Chaos Lord and Terminator armor, Chaos Lord on a bike, and Chaos Lord on a Juggernaut of Khorne. It's kind of interesting the way they've been doing this now. The generic characters, they have data slates for all of their special things that they can take. So they've got it's like a completely different unit, whether you're dealing with a regular Lord, one in Terminator armor, one in a bike, or one on a Juggernaut of Khorne. They've got a bunch of different special abilities, which is kind of cool. Looks like they're kind of most of them look like they're pretty similar to each other on there. But yeah, and you can have a Chaos Lord on a Disc of Tzeentch and a Palanquin of Nurgle. So these are more like the more specific ones that you have for the different ones. So you have a Juggernaut of Khorne, Disc of Tzeentch, Palanquin of Nurgle, Steed of Slaanesh. Then you come down here, you've got the Dark Apostle. So you've got the Dark Apostle there. You've also got the Demon Prince. The Demon Prince now has 8 wounds. 8 wounds. That's brutal. 3+ save. And he's just got a whole bunch of different stuff. 5+ invul save, which is nice. Especially when you start running into some of the more powerful weapons that will probably be targeting these dudes. Having a higher rend that they're going to have, it's nice to be able to have something that can take care of that. So you're not going to go any lower than a 5+, which could easily come down, because if you're hitting, I think, Meltaguns, I think are like on AP -4, so that 3+ would become zilch, but now you've got a 5+, which is nice. Going over here, we've got the Sorcerer, and again, all the Sorcerers on the different things that they can do. So you've got regular Sorcerer, Terminator armor on a bike, and his Disc of Tzeentch, and then you got the Palanquin of Nurgle, Steed of Slaanesh. No Sorcerers for Khorne, obviously. They look like they're 4 wounds for the regular one, 5 wounds for the guy on the bike, 5 wounds in Terminator armor as well, 4 wounds on Disc of Tzeentch, 6 wounds on the Palanquin of Nurgle. So I guess Nurgle's getting a little bit of a boost there, because, that's what they get to do. Steed of Slaanesh is 5 as well. You've got your Warpsmith here, which are pretty brutal. You got 4 wounds on the Warpsmith, so not super overpowered. They were taken very often in the previous, in 7th edition. So we'll have to see how they do in this new edition here. And then you have your regular Chaos Marines here. They are, we'll get back to their regular points in a second, but, 5 power points, which seems, I think, if I remember correctly, is pretty on par with the regular Space Marines, the loyal Space Marines. And then they got their Aspiring Champion. They got the usual stuff that they can change out. Doesn't look like anything really seriously got changed super hard from the 7th edition for these guys. So just moving them, porting them over into here. You got Chaos Cultists, which is pretty cool. If you want just a whole bunch of rabble. In this one, their leadership is pretty low, so they might start to take a bit because they start with a base of 10 cultists, including their champion, and you can have an additional 10, so you can have up to 20 in a squad, which is pretty brutal. But what you used to have, I know that now with the way that the morale tests work at the end, that could hurt a lot unless you've got someone like Abaddon there next to them, so that they could just have that. If you remember that 12-inch bubble, they automatically pass the morale test. So running them up there with a whole bunch of those dude bros would be pretty cool, because these guys can really, as long as they're not taking a whole bunch of wounds for from morale, can really start to wrap themselves around a unit and really lock them in. I got locked in with a tank recently on a game of 8th that I played. He got stuck up against a wall because the vehicles can no longer go through walls anymore. So it got caught up against the wall, and my opponent's unit just kind of wrapped around him, and had the tank couldn't get out, couldn't fall back. So just stuck him in there and eventually started to whittle him away, because vehicles are not super great in close combat, which is understandable. Then you've got Chaos Terminators. Looks like the usual standard stuff for Chaos Terminators. They come standard armed with a Combi Bolter and Power Axe, which is what you'll get if you use the power rating. You can just put whatever you want on them, but now you're going to have to pay for each of those things, Combi Bolter and Power Axe. I don't think they're super expensive, so but we'll take a look at that later. And they can do the Deep Strike again as well. All right, going in here, now it's more specialized units. Let's take a look at these ones. We've got Khorne Berserkers here. Base 5 Khorne Berserkers with a champion in there. You can put an additional 5 in there. They come base with chainsword, bolt pistol, frag grenades, and crack grenades. Any Khorne Berserker may replace his chainsword, bolt pistol, or bolt pistol with a chain axe. Up to 2 Khorne Berserkers may replace their bolt pistol with a plasma pistol. The Berserker Champion may replace his bolt pistol with a chainsword with items from the champion equipment list. And 1 Khorne Berserker in the unit may take an Icon of Wrath. They have Blood for the Blood God as their special release unit, can fight twice in each fight phase instead of only once, which is pretty brutal. So if you get the charge off with these guys, they can go in, make their attacks first, because that's the way charge works now. They have their attacks there. And then later on, what you do is you start activating different units throughout there. So all the charge guys go first, and then you alternate between you and your opponent activating units. So you can activate these guys. If you charge with them, you're actually going to be able to attack with them twice on the same unit before they can attack back, because all your charge units go, and then starting with you choose to activate a unit. So you could activate them again before your opponent gets to go, and then you have 2 sets of attacks with these guys. And they've got 2 base attacks, 3 base for the champion, and a weapon skill of 3+. So they're hitting on 3s, which is pretty brutal. So you get to their chain, and their chain axe is strength +1, AP -1, which can get pretty brutal if you've got all those guys going in there and just piling in and beating up everybody. So essentially, on the charge, you can have these guys, or actually anytime, any fight phase, as long as they're still alive, they're going to have 4 attacks each at any time. You don't get the +1 for having an extra close combat weapon anymore, unless you have a weapon that actually states it in its special rule. Chain Axe does not. Chain Sword does. You get an additional attack with this weapon. If you can make each time the bearer fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. So even if you're attacking with the Chain Axe, you can roll 1 additional attack for each of them that have the Chain Sword to get that extra attack in there, which is pretty good. It's just an extra attack. It's strength user AP 0, but it's another attack. Got to make those saves. All right, moving over here to Rubric Marines. They've got a shorter. The Aspiring Sorcerer has a higher move, but the regular Rubric Marines have a shorter move than your Khorne Berserkers there, and shorter move than the regular Marines. Berserkers and the regular Marines have a 6 move. They've got a 5 move. Your Rubric Marines, which makes sense since they're just armors full of sand. Now they've got their regular stuff. Their Aspiring Sorcerer replaces Force Stave with a Force Axe or Force Sword. So their Aspiring Sorcerer, which is kind of cool, is a Psychic, which is awesome. Which is nothing new, but at least they kept it that way. They've got Inferno Bolt Guns, which are Rapid Fire 1, Strength 4, AP minus 2. AP minus 2. That's huge. That's awesome. So at 12 inches, you've got 2 shots that are AP minus 2, which turns a 3+ into a 5+. Pretty brutal. So they can really chew through some power armor dudes, or especially anyone else too as you're going up there, because they're base 5 Marines. You get an additional 5 for Rubric Marines into the squad there. So they've got that. What else? Anything else? All is dust. Add 1 to the saving throws for Rubric Marines if the attack has a damage characteristic of 1. So if it's low damage characteristic, they get to add 1 to their saving throws, because I guess it means it's not like obliterating them out from inside there. So the fact that they're just dust, it doesn't really do as much damage as you would imagine. So they get +1 to their save characteristic, which is pretty cool. In addition, the -1 modifier to hit rolls for moving and shooting with a heavy weapon does not apply to Rubric Marines. So they've got basically their own form of Relentless the way it was, which is pretty cool. Without having to not charge or anything, which is pretty cool. And all models have a 5+ invul save. These guys are pretty brutal. These are awesome. So looks like all those people that went out and bought a bunch of the Thousand Suns when all that stuff was coming out will still be happy in this edition. They've got a pretty awesome unit there, and the Aspiring Sorcerer can attempt to manifest 1 psychic power. So pretty good. Moving on to the Plague Marines here. Again, they are 1 move short, so even their Plague Champion is going to be slower, much like the Rubric Marines. Their toughness is +1. Everyone else is T4, so they've got T5, which is actually makes a big difference, especially now the way the wounding works. If you're getting shot with bolt guns, they're wounding on 5s now, because if it's strength is equal to the toughness, you're wounding on a 4. If it's lower than the toughness, but not half as much as the toughness, then you're wounding on 5s. So bolt guns are wounding the same on these guys as they do in a lot of big monstrous creatures, up to toughness 8 guys. So pretty cool. Looks like they've got all their different stuff. They've got Blight, Plague Knife. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 with this weapon, with the Plague Knife, and Plague Sword. You can reroll failed wound rolls with this weapon. So it's they're pretty cool. The Plague Champion can replace his Plague Knife with a Plague Sword, so the Plague Champion can have that sword, which is pretty good. So everything, they're both strength user AP 0, 1 wound, but he gets to reroll all failed wounds as opposed to just failed wounds of 1. They have Disgustingly Resilient. Each time a model with this in this unit loses a wound, roll a d6. On a roll of 5 or 6, the model does not lose that wound. That is crazy. So a third of the time, they do not lose wounds whenever you're shooting at them. And they've got the Plague Champion has 2, or they each have 1 wound, but you're ignoring those wounds a third of the time. So that's crazy. That's like a 5-ups, feel no pain essentially, but not having to worry about any doubling out or anything like that, because that's no longer a thing in this edition. Over here we've got the Noise Marines, back up to 6 move, so just like a regular Marine there. Looks like the normal stats for everyone. Except they've got 2 attacks base, and then 3 attacks for the Noise Champion. That's pretty good. That means they're gonna be right up there with the Khorne Berserkers for those attacks there, because those stats for a regular Space Marine are 1 and 2. So you get some extra attacks in there in close combat. Going over here, we got the Sonic Blaster, a 24-inch Assault 3, which means that you can advance and shoot them at this during this same turn. But they're going to be at a -1 to hit, so you're going to be hitting on 4+ as opposed to 3+. Strength 4, AP 0 on the Sonic Blaster, but units targeted by this weapon do not gain any bonus to their saving throws for being in cover. So it ignores cover, which is pretty good. Then you've got the Doom Siren, 8 inches, Assault D3. Strength 5, AP -2. This weapon automatically hits its target. Units targeted by this weapon do not give any bonus to their saving throws for being in cover. So it ignores cover. It's basically a flamer, what a flamer template used to be, except it's got some rend in it, which is pretty good. And the usual thing for the chainsword. And then you got the Blastmaster up here. When attacking with this weapon, choose one of the profiles below. 48 inches, heavy D3, strength 8. AP -2, D3 damage, or 36 inches, assault D6, strength 4, AP -1, damage 1. Units targeted by this weapon do not gain any bonus for to their saving throws and being cover, so ignores cover again. So these guys are basically shooting, ignoring any bonuses for cover, which is pretty good. Not getting that +1 for being in cover is can really make a change, especially when they've got like their rends as they do on some of those weapons. So pretty cool. And then their special ability there, they've got each time a model with this unit is slain, it is driven to make one last attack before succumbing to its injuries. Do not remove the slain model yet. After the attacking unit has finished making all its attacks, the slain model can make a shooting attack with one of its ranged weapons or throw a grenade, even if the model's unit is within 1 inch of the enemy. The slain model is then removed as a casualty as normal. So as he's falling down, he just starts shooting. It gets to shoot as he's going down with his weapon, which is pretty brutal. So then we have Chosen here. Their movement is at 6 again. They've got the 2 and the 3 attacks each. Their leadership is up there. They're basically veterans, is what it comes down to. They've got the usual stuff. Nothing really special about them at that point. They're just kind of have their regular choices for different weapons. Nothing unique to them. You got the Possessed down here. All models have a 5+ save because they're demonic. And Writhing Tentacles, roll a D3 when a unit of Possessed is selected in the attack to attack in the fight phase. The result is the attack's characteristics for each model in this unit. So a little bit of a random thing, but still got a base of 1 for attack, but possibly as many as 3 attacks, which can get pretty brutal because they contain 5 possessed base for the unit, and they can have an additional 5, so you can have 10 possessed just running up the board. Possibly, if you're really lucky, if you roll that D3 on that, and they can get in there with those 10 guys, that's 30 attacks in there, which is pretty good. They're strength 5, so they're going to be wounding on 3s for most things, so pretty good. Hellbrutes over here, same usual stuff. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything special. Like, I guess you do have the Crazed here, so at the end of any phase in which this model suffers an unsaved wound or mortal wounds, roll a D6. On a roll of a 6, the model immediately makes a shooting attack as if it were your shooting phase, if there are no enemies within 1 inch, or piles in and fights as if it were the fight phase if there are enemies within 1 inch. If there is no visible target within range, nothing happens. You can also add 1 to the model's attacks characteristic if it's equipped with 2 melee weapons. That's pretty cool. So you can give him 2 close combat weapons and just have him just beating people down that way. And then they have the explodes roll, which a lot of vehicles have. So he does have the vehicle keyword down there. You've got mutilators here. Let's see. Let's look at their special thing here. They've got they can only move 4 inches. They're a little slow there. They can only have 3. Flesh metal weapons. If the unit of mutilators is chosen to fight, roll 3d3. One after the other. For that fight, the first roll is added to the mutilator's strength for the unit's attacks. The second roll is the AP for the unit's attacks. And the third roll is the damage for the unit's attacks. Oh, wow, that is crazy. For example, if they roll a 1, followed by a 3, followed by a 2, then all the unit's attacks for that fight would have a strength of +1, a strength of +1, an AP of -3, and a damage of 2. Oh, so it adds to the strength. Their base strength is 5, or I guess when they're using the flesh metal weapons, their base strength is going to be a 6 essentially, but can be as much as 8, which is kind of cool. And you have an AP as high as -3, and then the damage can be as high as 3, which could be, if you roll really well, that could be super brutal in an attack there. So they've got 3 base attacks with those powers. Pretty cool. That would be great in close combat. They've got their 5+ invul save, and they can also teleport in, which is pretty nice. So if you're lucky or you use your command points well, you can actually probably get a charge off, possibly get a charge off with these guys the first turn, because you could just deep strike them in first turn because there's no restrictions on that, and then just roll and hope to get a 9-inch charge. So using those, remember to use those command points to reroll one of those dice. We've got the Chaos Rhino, the usual stuff. The way vehicles now work, they've got a strength and toughness instead, and wounds, so 10 wounds on a Rhino, which is kind of cool. And then as they start taking damage, they lose in movement and ballistic skill and attacks in close combat. So from 6 to 10, they've got a 12-inch move, 3+ ballistic skill, and a 3 attacks, and then it goes down to when they've got their last 2 remaining wounds, 3-inch move, 5+ ballistic skill, and an attack of 1. The Rhinos have self-repair roll. Roll a d6 at the start of each of your turns. On a 6, this model heals 1 wound. That's pretty cool. That's really cool. Just keep them on the board even longer. Smoke launchers once per game instead of shooting any weapons shooting phase. This model can use its smoke launchers until the next shooting phase. Your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls for ranged weapons that target this vehicle. So it doesn't add a cover save, which is interesting. It just makes it harder to hit them with the weapons. So that's going to be helpful in there for any of those weapons that ignores cover. This is not going to make a difference for that because this doesn't ignore that subtracting 1 from all rolls to hit. And then they can also explode. They only explode now on a 6 anytime they're reduced to 0 hull points. So you don't have to get there's no more of the penetrating hits or anything like that. But once any vehicle's reduced to 0, most of them have this explodes roll where on a 6 it explodes. And this one, it does within 6 inches. Any unit within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds. The bigger ones, I know it says like D6 mortal wounds from a Land Raider. Pretty brutal. All right, so you got the bikers here. Movement is 14, which is pretty brutal. They look like standard bikers here. 2 wounds each on bikers now, which is pretty nice. And they also, instead of advancing, where you roll a d6, they just move an additional 6 inches. It's called Turbo Boost instead of rolling for it. Raptors are in here. They've got their usual stuff. Fearsome Visage, add 1 to the morale test for any enemy units within 1 inch of this unit. So if you're engaged with a unit in close combat, you can, when they suffer losses, they're going to have to add 1 to that morale test to see if anyone runs away, which is kind of cool. And then Raptor Strike during deployment, you can set them up high in the skies and basically just deep strike them down, which is pretty cool. Set up anywhere in the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away. So they can possibly make those charges first turn, which is pretty cool. Warp Talons are also they have got all models in this unit have a 5+ invul save, which is nice. When you set up this unit during deployment, it can be set up in low orbit, ready to strike instead of being placed on the battlefield. You can, at the end of your movement phase, when it does so, set up the unit anywhere more than 9 inches from any enemy model. In addition, enemy units cannot fire Overwatch against units in the same turn that they arrive from Warp Flame Strike. So that's pretty cool. So these guys can just drop in more than 9 inches away, and you don't have to worry about the fact that it's a hard distance to make. You can give the shot anyway because they can't shoot you with Overwatch. So that's pretty brutal. That's pretty cool. You got a Chaos Spawn here. Unit contains 1 Chaos Spawn. It can include 1 additional Chaos Spawn, so you can have or 2 additional or up to 4 additional. Up to 4 additional, so up to a squad of 5 spawn. Mutated beyond reason. When a unit of Chaos Spawn makes it close combat attacks, roll a d3, consult the table below. 1, it is hideous mutations that all Chaos Spawn in the unit have an AP of -4 until the end of the fight phase. Razor Claws, that's crazy. Then you've got Grasping Pseudopods. Each Chaos Spawn in this unit adds 2 to its attacks characteristics until the end of the fight phase. And on 3, you can reroll failed wound rolls for this unit until the end of the fight phase. That's crazy cool. These guys, I think, should be pretty cool. An enemy unit within 1 inch Chaos Spawn must subtract 1. Enemy units within 1 inch of the Chaos Spawn must subtract 1 from their leadership. So that's pretty cool if they start doing some wounds, which they have a good chance of doing down there in close combat. And they've got D6 attacks. So, yeah, these guys will probably... Wow, they're pretty brutal. That would be crazy to see what they could do there. But they're not shooting anything. They're just getting into close combat attack. You've got your Helldrakes over here, which is one of the flying ones, because it's a flyer is now a battlefield placement there. So, they got their usual stuff. 12 wounds, toughness 7, strength 7. It's got 4 attacks, and weapon skill is, the ballistic skill always stays 4, so it's always hitting on a 4 when it's shooting. But when it gets in close combat, which you can do with them, they've got movement of 30 when they're fully healed, weapon skill of 3+, and attacks 4 attacks. Wow, that's crazy. These guys are going to be super good in close combat. 4 to 6 wounds left. Movement is dropped down to 20 inches. Strength 4, or weapon skill 4+, 3 attacks, and then the last 3 wounds 10 inches, 5 weapon skill, 2 attacks. At the beginning of each of your turns, this model heals 1 wound automatically. Don't even have to roll for it. Boom. That's pretty awesome. And then Crash and Burn, if it's reduced to 0, it could explode with the usual stuff that they've got there. Chaos Land Raider. It's got 16 wounds. Toughness 8, Strength 8. Brutal. They've got the smoke launchers. Demonic Machine Spirit ignores the -1 hit modifier, moving and shooting heavy weapons with this model. So the las cannons don't have to hit on a -1, which is pretty great. And it explodes. It's any unit on a 6. It explodes. Any unit within 6 inches suffers D6 mortal wounds. Wow, brutal. Its weapon skill is always a 6+, so it's not really good in close combat, which is to be expected. What's it going to do? Flap its door at you? But it, ballistic skill is going to be 3 until you're down to the last 8 wounds. 4 until you're down to the last 4 wounds. So, pretty good. Going on to the Chaos Predator here. You've got the option for the twin las cannons, regular las cannons, Predator autocannon, and heavy bolters. So basically like the regular Predators that you can take for the loyal Space Marines. Looking pretty standard for all of that. 11 wounds, toughness 7. Yeah, pretty good. They're going to be sticking around for a long time. They've got the usual smoke launchers and the explode D3 within 6 inches. You got a Chaos Vindicator here. Its Demolisher Cannon is 24 inches, heavy D3, strength 10, AP -3, damage D6. So they have the possibility of wounding some of those big heavies there. So if you're shooting at, say, like a Storm Surge or something, you've got the possibility of doing 18 damage in one shooting phase. When attacking units with 5 or more models, change this weapon type to heavy D6. Oh, that's cool. So the D3 is if you're shooting for smaller units, but if you're shooting at bigger units with 5 or more models, you change it to heavy D3 instead of heavy D6 instead of D3. So if you happen to run into some, a big unit of Terminators, this thing would be pretty brutal against them. And the usual explodes rule and everything like that. So 11 wounds, toughness 8. This is going to be sticking around for a while. You've got Obliterators over here. They've got the flesh metal weapon, which states that a unit of Obliterators chosen to shoot in the shooting phase or in Overwatch. Roll D3, roll 3 D3, one after the other. Roll to add. The first roll is added to 6 to determine the strength. So it's base 6 strength plus D3. So possibly strength 9. Assault 2 is the basic shooting there, if you're just shooting it. The AP is minus D3, and then the strength, the damage is D3. So that's crazy. These are like the Mutilators, which is obviously that's the way they were, Mutilators and Obliterators. But these are going to be the ones that are going to be shooting. Those are the ones that are going to be. These are the ones shooting. The other ones are going to be the ones that you're going to try to get into close combat with. So, going over here. So then you've got the Havocs down here. Usual stuff for the Havocs. They can use their up to 4 Havocs can replace the bolt gun with a heavy weapon or special weapon. So pretty cool there. Forge Fiend, wounds, 12 wounds, toughness 7, strength 6. So they can be pretty brutal there. Again, healing 1 wound automatically each turn. Does explode. Got the Mauler Fiend. Same thing, healing 1 wound. They've got, he's got the Ectoplasm Cannon, which is the Forge Fiend has heavy D3, strength 7, AP minus 3, damage D3. Brutal. Then the Hades Autocannon is strength 8, AP minus 1, damage 2, heavy 4. Crazy. And then Demon Jaws, AP minus 1, regular strength, but the strength is 6, so that can get pretty brutal. The Mauler Fiend can have both, as the Magna Cutter is 6-inch range. It's a pistol 1, which is cool. So you can use that in the shooting phase even if you're within 1 inch. So if you're engaged in combat. Strength 8, AP -4, damage 3. Pretty crazy. Lash your tendrils. The strength user, AP -2, damage 2. Each time its bearer fights, it can make D6 additional attacks with this weapon. So you can have as many as, if you're at full health here with 4 attacks, you can have 10 attacks with the Lash your tendrils, or you can have four attacks. Or you can have 4 attacks with the Mauler fists, which are basically power fists, doing 3 damage, and then you can have an additional D6 with the Lash your tendrils. So yeah, as many as 10 attacks. That's pretty crazy. That's really good. The Mauler Fiend there. Then you've got the Defiler over here. Diffie. You got all the usual stuff. Battle Cannon is heavy D6 now. Strength 8, AP -2, D3 damage. You got the Twin Las Cannons can have. Defiler Claw is basically a power fist, but it does damage D6. D6. That's crazy. Because his attacks when he's fully healed is 3. That could be pretty brutal. He's got the smoke launchers as well. Also heals the 1 wound per turn. And he also explodes. Then you've got the Khorne Lord of Skulls. He's got 28 wounds. Toughness 8. Wow, this guy is not going to go down. Base attacks. Oh, and he gets more attacks as he gets wounded. That's awesome. So his movement goes down. So he goes from 10 to 7 to 4 inches. But his strength goes down from 10 to 8 to 5, but his number of attacks goes from 4 to 6 to 8. As he's getting more wounded, he's just lashing out and swinging, trying to take people down, which is pretty cool. He's got the Demon Gore Cannon, which automatically hits its target, so it's heavy D6. So it's basically like a flamer, but of range 18, which is cool. You got the Gale Storm Cannon, heavy D6. This weapon automatically hits its target when attacking units with 10 or more models. Change the weapon's type to heavy 2d6. Wow, that could be crazy too. Taking out a whole bunch of guys there, you can have as many as 12 hits onto them. Automatically hitting. Strength user. Strength user. Oh, interesting. So I guess as his strength goes down, his Demon Gore Cannon and Gore Storm Cannon goes down, which is interesting. I don't think I've seen that on a shooty weapon, but it's still doing as many as 12 automatic hits onto a unit if it's a big one. That's pretty cool. You got the Gatling Cannon, heavy 12, pretty cool. Ichor Cannon, heavy D6, -4 on the AP on that. Skull Hurler, heavy D6, and when you add on all these things, it's probably going to be pretty expensive, but you can shoot every one of these. You can shoot all the weapons. You can shoot them at different targets too, because no longer do you have to worry about it. And you also don't have to worry about arcs anymore, because there's no arcs on vehicles anymore. You can just shoot all the weapons at whatever you want. So again, the Skull Hurler goes up to 2d6 if it's attacking units with 10 or more models. And then he's got the Great Cleaver of Khorne. You choose one of the profiles below. He's either Smash, which is strength times 2, AP -4, with 6 damage, which is pretty brutal, or Slash, which is strength user, AP -2, damage D3, but make 3 hit rolls for each attack made with this weapon instead of 1. So you've got 3 times as many attacks with that, which is cool. He's got the healing 1 wound per turn. Again, 5+ invul. Titanic Demon Engine. Khorne Lord of Skulls can shoot if there are enemy models within 1 inch of it, as long as all of the enemy models have the infantry keyword. In this case, it can shoot the enemy unit that is within 1 inch of it, or any other visible enemy unit that is within range and more than 1 inch away from any friendly models. In addition, a Khorne Lord of Skulls can move and fire heavy weapons without suffering the penalty of its hit rolls. Finally, a Khorne Lord of Skulls only gains a bonus to its save in cover if at least half of the model is obscured from the firer. So he's got to be fully in cover, which I think is a huge model. So he's got to be fully in the terrain and obscured more than at least 50%, at least half of it, in order to gain the cover save. Because this thing is supposed to be this giant engine just trugging along across the battlefield. So yeah, that's pretty brutal. And it's and if it explodes, it's within 2d6 inches, suffer d6 mortal wounds. So as many as 12 inches away, it can suffer d6 mortal wounds. All right, going into the World Eaters here. They've got some army rules that they've got here. they've got the usual stuff. Changes the Legion to World Eaters. If a World Eaters unit has the Mark of Chaos keyword, it must be Khorne. Similarly, World Eaters, Demon Princes must owe their allegiance to Khorne. Berserker Horde, the battlefield role of World Eaters, Khorne Berserker is troops instead of elites. Oh, so if you're running a World Eaters army list, then the Berserkers become troops choices, so you can have a whole ton of them in some of the battalion or the bigger detachments that you've got the options to make them in. So pretty cool, pretty brutal. So we've got Karn here. He's got 5 wounds, toughness 4, move 6, weapon skill, ballistic skill of 2. He's got a plasma pistol. Each time you roll a hit of 1, when firing this weapon, the bearer suffers a mortal wound. So that's different. It's got basically his plasma pistol is always overcharged, is what it is. So which makes sense because he's just trying to kill a whole lot of things. So he's always going to have overcharged on his pistol. But he only suffers a mortal wound as opposed to being slain. So he doesn't just take it off when he rolls a 1-day hit, which is pretty cool. Then he's got his Gore Child, which is strength +1, AP -4, damage D3. The weapon always hits on a 2+ regardless of any modifiers. So you can't modify his stuff down with whatever special rules. So he's just going to be pretty brutal. Let's go into special abilities. He's got the Betrayer. Cannot reroll or modify hit rolls of 1 made for Karn the Betrayer in the fight phase. Instead, those attacks automatically hit a friendly unit within 1 inch. Randomly determine which unit is hit if there is more than one. If there are no friendly units within 1 inch of Karn, the hits are discarded. He's got a 4+ invul save. He can fight twice in each fight phase instead of only once. You can reroll failed hit rolls made for friendly World Eaters units within 1 inch of Karn the Betrayer. So that gives you the desire to keep a unit within 1 inch of him, so you can get those reroll failed hits. But then that also puts you at risk of getting hit by his attacks if you roll a 1-2 hit in close combat weapon, because he's just taking blood, doesn't care if it's from the Loyalists or from his own men, which is very corny. Haha. Going on to Khorne Berserkers over here. You've got, and he's got 6 attacks, by the way. 6 attacks. Brutal. Khorne Berserkers are attacks 2 and 3, 6-inch move. The usual stats there. Strength 5, though, instead of the regular strength 4, which is pretty cool. Same as Karn. They can have 4, or base of 5 in the squad. You can have up to 15 additional, so up to a squad of 20, which is brutal. They come with a chainsword, bolt pistol, and frag and crack grenades. Any Khorne Berserker may place a chainsword or bolt pistol with a chain axe. Up to 2 Khorne Berserkers may place the bolt pistol with a plasma pistol. A champion can take champion stuffs, and they can have 1 Khorne Berserker in the unit may take an Icon of Wrath. I run it up there. The unit can fight twice in each fight phase instead of only once. Pretty brutal. All right, then you've got your Thousand Suns here. They've got their usual stuff that they talk about. They've got Rubric Marines are troops instead of elites if you're running a Thousand Suns army. So they've got all the different units that that you can have in a Thousand Suns. Oh, they don't have it here for the World Eaters, which is interesting. I guess you could just take everyone, but Thousand Suns have specific units that you can take in a Thousand Suns army list. Magnus the Red. He's a pretty... let's see what the big boy's got going on here. He's got 18 wounds, toughness 7, strength 8. So he is a character, but he's got 18 wounds, which means that people can just shoot at him. He doesn't have to be the closest model before people can shoot at him, which makes perfect sense since he's giant and in charge there. From 10 to 18, he's going to have the Psychic Phase bonus as +2. Oh, that's cool. He's got +1 Psychic Phase from 5 to 19 wounds, and then 1 to 4 he's got 0. His movement is 16, 14, and 12, respectively, and his attacks are 7, 6, and 5, respectively, as you go down there. His strength is 8, toughness 7. Wow, pretty brutal. The Blade of Magnus is strength ×2, AP -4. If a character is destroyed by this weapon, you can add a Chaos Spawn to your army. Set up the Chaos Spawn within 6 inches of Magnus and more than 1 inch from an enemy model. So it basically just turns any characters that he kills into spawn with that weapon. That's brutal. That's going to be awesome. He has a 4+ invul save. Manifests the smite power. It inflicts D6 mortal wounds or 2d6 mortal wounds on a roll of 10 or more. That's crazy. So instead of just the D3, he's got D6 mortal wounds from smite. and then 2d6 mortal wounds on a roll of 10 or more. So you can really just wipe out a squad with that now, which is pretty brutal. And you can reroll hit rolls of 1 and vulnerable saving throws of 1 made for friendly Thousand Sun units within 9 inches of Magnus the Red. So invul saves instead of all like armor saves. It's just, and remember, within 9 inches of Magnus the Red, he is a Thousand Sun unit within 9 inches of himself. So he gets to reroll. If he goes down to the invulnerable save, he gets to reroll those ones and reroll hit rolls of 1. So pretty cool. His psychic power can manifest 3 psychic powers in each friendly psychic phase and attempt to deny 3 psychic powers in each enemy psychic phase. He knows the smite psychic power and 3 psychic powers from the Dark Hereticus discipline, which is all 3 of them. Whenever Magnus the Red attempts to manifest or deny a psychic power, add the bonus shown in the damage table to his psychic test or deny the witch test. So if he's casting smite and he's at full strength, or between 10 and 18 wounds left, he needs to roll an 8 or better to cause 2d6 mortal wounds. That's brutal. He's going to be a big boy. He's going to see a lot of him on there. Going over here to Ahriman. He's got his usual stuff. He's got the Black Staff of Ahriman, which is strength plus 2, AP minus 1. Nothing really super special there. He's got a Disc of Tzeentch with blades. The blades on the Disc of Tzeentch. Strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. After a model on this mount makes its close combat attacks, you can attack with the mount. Make 1 additional attack using the weapon profile. So after he does his close combat attacks, he's 5 wounds. He's got 4 attacks base. You can then attack with the Disc of Tzeentch. Ahriman may ride a Disc of Tzeentch. If he does so, he loses the infantry keyword and gains the demon, cavalry, and fly keywords. His move increased to 12. And his disc will attack his enemies with his blades when it fights. Yeah, so you have the possibility of giving him the disc. You don't have to. So that's what you can do there. You can only have 1 of him in your army, and same thing with, I think, most of the characters. The only one I heard is Celestine. They forgot to put that in her profile, but I'm sure that'll be corrected. He's got a 4+ invul. You can reroll invulnerable saving throws of 1 made for friendly Thousand Sun infantry units within 6 inches of this model. He can manifest 3 psychic powers in each friendly psychic phase and attempt to deny 3 psychic powers in the enemy psychic phase. So, him and his big boss Magnus the Red get to do 3 powers each. Then you've got the Exalted Sorcerer here. Usual stats there: 6 inches, 5 wounds, toughness 4, 4 attacks. So he's actually very similar in base stat line to Ahriman, but he's got a regular Force Stave, which is does 3d3 damage instead of just 3 damage. So Ahriman doesn't have to roll the d3 for his damage for his stave. But the Exalted Sorcerer does. Same thing, you can give him the blade, the disc. He's got a 5+ invul save, and he still gives that bubble of within 6 inches of rerolling 1s. This is the same as Ahriman, but he only has 2 psychic powers that he can do. Then you've got Zangors, 6 inches. Standard base stat lines there. The Twist Bray, which is like their champion or whatever, has 2 attacks instead of just the 1. They have a base of 10, can include an additional up to 20 additional Zangors. You can have a total of 30 Zangors in a unit if you so desire, which is pretty brutal. The Zangor blades are strength user AP minus 1. Each time the bearer fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. So pretty cool. Each model in this unit has a 5+ invul save. Unit of Zangors may include any instruments of chaos. A unit of Zangors that includes any instruments of chaos adds 1 to their advance and charge rolls. So pretty cool. And you can reroll failed hit rolls in the fight phase for this unit when targeting a character. So they're after the characters. You got the Rubric Marines, which we've gone over. They're the same, I think, for here. Yeah, they don't look like they're any different. Scarab Occult Terminators. They've got the 4-inch move for them instead of and the 5-inch for the Scarab Occult Sorcerer. You've got the Heavy Warp Flame, heavy D6, strength 5, AP -2. This weapon automatically hits, so it's heavy flamer basically. Hellfire Missile Rack, heavy 2, strength 8, AP -2, D3 damage. Inferno Combi Bolter, looks like it's just a regular, like the Inferno Bolter, but it has the ability to have the combi parts. Soul Reaper Cannon, heavy 4, strength 5, -3 AP. 4 stave, power weapons, blah blah blah. They have the abilities All is Dust, add 1 to the saving throws of Occult Scarab Terminators if the attack has a damage characteristic of 1. In addition, the -1 modifier to hit rolls when moving and shooting a heavy weapon do not apply to the Scarab Occult Terminators. Pretty good. They've got a 5+ invul save, and they can teleport in, and the Psyker can manifest. So like their Scarab Occult Sorcerer, their Sergeant can manifest 1 power. That +1, you may think it's like they've got the 2+ save. You'd think, oh well, what's that 1 going to do? But against Rending, having that extra 1 is helpful, so it keeps you back up at that 2+ for longer. Death Guard. So you've got they talk about them here. Forces of the Death Guard have all their different stuff. Servant and Nurgle have to have the Nurgle mark. Plague Marines are now troop choices. If you do a Death Guard army, Plague Caster and Malignant Plague Casters must choose the additional psychic powers that they can use from the Contagion discipline on the right. So they've got a different discipline that they use. Miasma of Pestilence has a warp charge value of 6. Manifest and select a visible, friendly Death Guard unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls that target that unit. Pretty good. Gift of Contagion, value of 7. If manifested, select a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker and roll a d3. Consult the table below, discover the characteristic penalty all models in that unit suffer until the start of your next psychic phase. This cannot reduce a characteristic to less than 1. On a 1, it's -1 attack. On a 2, -1 strength. On a 3, -1 toughness. Pretty good. Plague Wind, war charge of 5. Manifest and select a visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. Roll 1 die for each model in that unit. The unit suffers a mortal wound for each roll of 6. Wow, can be pretty brutal, especially if you happen to be fighting against like a Zangor unit of 30. Could you imagine that? You're going to get quite a few 6s on that one. And they've got their usual army list of stuff that they can take. They got specifically what you can put into there. So let's look at Typhus here. Movement of 4. He's got 6 wounds, toughness 5, 4 attacks base. He's got the Destroyer Hive weapon. This weapon, it's strength 4, pistol 2d6. Pistol 2d6. So he can shoot this even if he's in close combat during the shooting phase, which is pretty brutal. So now you've got... so you've got all of that. Pistol 2d6, strength 4, AP -3, 1 damage. This weapon hits on hit rolls of 5+, even when firing Overwatch, regardless of any modifiers. So he's usually hitting on 2, but if you're Overwatching, you're on 5+, and if you have modifiers like knocking him down to whatever snapshots or anything, he's still hitting on 5+, regardless of any modifiers. Man Reaper. It's a melee weapon, strength +3. His base strength is 4, so it goes up to strength 7. AP -3, damage 3. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 for this weapon. Blake Grenade. Strength 3, AP dash. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 with this weapon, so pretty good. Disgusting Resilient. Each time Typhus loses a wound, roll a d6, and a 5 or 6 does not lose it, so basically feel no pain. All Death Guard units within 7 inches of Typhus are surrounded by a deadly aura of plague and disease. Roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 1 inch of 1 or more such models at the start of your turn. On a 4+, that unit suffers a mortal wound. Wow, brutal. Cataphractii Armor. Typhus is a 4+ invul save, but you must have the result of the dice rolled when determining how far he advances. Host of the Destroyer Hive. Friendly units of Poxwalkers increase their strength and toughness by 1 whilst they are within 7 inches of Typhus. Pretty cool. He can also do the teleport thing, which is pretty cool. And Typhus can manifest 2 psychic powers. So Smite and then 1 from the Contagion. Then you've got a Lord of Contagion here. Movement 4, toughness 5, 6 wounds. It's got with the Plague Reaper. Let's see. He's got the Feel No Pain. He models within 7 inches surrounded by the deadly aura thing. So that same thing on a 4+, which is that the same one as Yep, same thing as Typhus has. He's got the Cataphractii armor as Typhus has, and he can also deep strike, but he doesn't have any of the psychic powers. Doesn't look like. You got the malignant plague caster. He's got a corrupted staff, which does D3 damage, -1 to the AP, +2 to the strength. Same thing, 5+ feel no pain. Pestilent fallout. Each time this model successfully manifests a psychic power with a psychic test of 7 or more, the nearest enemy unit within 7 inches suffers a mortal wound after the effects of the psychic power have been removed. Oh, brutal. So every time he does 7+ on his psychic test, he hurts a nearby enemy unit. Then you've got the Poxwalkers, which you can get in I think they come in the starter set, which is pretty cool. They look really good. Base 10 can include an additional 10, so you can have up to 20 in a squad. They've got that 5+ feel no pain. Each time an enemy infantry model is slain by a Poxwalker in the fight phase, add 1 model to the Poxwalker's unit. Oh, that's cool. So they keep every time they kill a unit in close combat, they add a model to the Poxwalker unit, which is cool. Their strength, toughness 3, 1 wound each, 2 attacks, so they can really start to pile up as things go that way. Their weapon skill 5, ballistic skill 6. So, and they've got improvised weapon, which is just basically with their fists. Diseased Horde, the unit never has to take a morale test, which is pretty cool because they're mindless. And then Diseased Horde, you can add 1 to all hit rolls for this unit if in the fight phase if it contains more than 10 models. So this gives you these guys you'll be probably seen in large groups going forward. You've got the Plague Marines, which we went over all of their stuff. Fetid Bloat Drone. So they've got 10 wounds, toughness 7, weapon skill and ballistic skill 4. They got 3, 2, 1 attacks. They've got 6, 5, 4 strength, and they've got 10, 8, 6 movement as you're going down. They've got the Plague Spitter and the Plague Probe. This Plague Spitter is 9-inch range, assault D6, AP -1. This weapon automatically hits targets. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 when attacking with this weapon. So it's going to be a flamer that rerolls wounds of 1, or like a flamer. So it's assault D6 there. Yep. Plague Probe. It's melee weapon. Strength user again. AP -2, D3 damage. You can reroll wounds of 1 for this weapon. They've also got the 5+ feel no pain, 5+ invul. Model reduced to 0. It does explode. Each unit within 7 inches suffers 1 mortal wound. Oh, that's interesting. All right, then you've got the Noxious Blightbringer. Sorry. Movement 5. Usual stuff. 4 wounds. Toughness 5. 3 attacks. Single model, cursed plague bell, a plasma pistol, blight grenades, and crack grenades. Plasma pistol's the usual stuff, with the supercharge, adding 1 to its strength and 1 to its damage, but on a 1, the bearer is slain. So it says the bearer is slain, so that's not even, can't make a save, and you're also going to be dead, not just take a wound, which is cool. Brutal, but cool. He's got the 5+ feel no pain. Toxin Misery units must subtract 1 from each of their leadership when they are within while they were within 7 inches of an enemy noxious Blightbringers. Psychers must subtract 2 instead. In addition, if a Death Guard unit is within 7 inches of any friendly noxious Blightbringers, when it advances, roll 2 dice and discard the lowest result when determining how far that unit advances. Pretty good. So keeps it going. The Cursed Plague Bell is a melee weapon, strength user, AP 0. 2 damage, you can reroll wounds of 1 with this weapon. Emperor's Children. So they don't have a list here, which means that you can probably take all their stuff. Noise Marines become troops instead of elites. That seems to be the big difference here. You got Lucius the Eternal. Movement 6, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2. He's got 5 wounds, toughness 4. His Doom Siren is, again, assault D3. Weapon automatically hits targets. Do not gain saving throws from cover. Slash of Torment. Assault 2. Strength user. 1 AP. -1 AP. 2 damage. The weapon can be fired within 1 inch of an enemy unit and can target enemy units within 1 inch of friendly units. So it's an assault 2 weapon, but it acts like a pistol, which is kind of cool. The Lash of Torment. Mastercrafted Power Sword is melee, strength user, AP -3, 2 damage. Pretty brutal. Armor of Shrieking Souls, his abilities here. Lucius the Eternal is a 5+ invul save. Whenever you make a successful saving throw for Lucius in the fight phase, roll a d6. On a roll of 4+, the unit that made the attack suffers a mortal wound after all of its attacks have been made. Wow. I don't think that's for each saving throw. It's just whenever you make a successful saving throw for Lucius in the fight phase, roll a d6. So you're only ever going to be giving 1 mortal wound, but that's still pretty cool that you're just handing out mortal wounds like candy there. Very low numbers of candy, but candy. Duelist Pride. If Lucius the Eternal directs all of his attacks against a single enemy character, roll an extra 2 attacks. These extra attacks must also be directed at that character. And Lord of Slash. You can reroll all hit rolls of 1 made by friendly Emperor's Children units within 6 inches of this model. So, pretty cool. Pretty good that he can do all of that. The Noise Marines, we already went over those guys. On to the Chaos Demons here. So they've got the hierarchy of the different, the greater demons and things like that you've got. Their special abilities that they've got. 5+ for being demons. Unstoppable Ferocity of a Corn Demon unit. This ability either is charged, or performs a heroic intervention. Add 1 to the strength and attacks characteristics of all models in the unit until the end of the turn. Pretty good. Ephemeral Form, add 1 to any invulnerable saving throws made for a Tzeentch demon with this ability. Pretty good. Disgustingly Resilient. Each time a Nurgle demon with this ability loses a wound, roll a d6, so 5 or 6, feel no pain. For Nurgle demons. And then Quicksilver Swiftness is Selesh. Units with this ability always fight first in the fight phase, even if they didn't charge. If the enemy has units that have charged or that have a similar ability, then alternate choosing units to fight with, starting with the player whose turn is taking place. So I guess you could still choose if you charge them. You could still get to go first, but if you charged him with 2, if you charged them with 2 units, then you would only get to go first with 1 of the units that you're going against them. So pretty brutal, interesting. It just like intercepts the flow of the usual combat, which is pretty interesting. So you've got the Demonic Ritual. Instead of moving in the movement phase, any Chaos character can, at the end of their movement phase, attempt to summon a demon unit. This ability is by performing a Demonic Ritual. The character cannot do so if they arrived as reinforcements this turn, or if they themselves have been summoned to the battlefield this turn. Instead of moving in the movement phase, any Chaos character, oh cool, can summon a demon unit. If they do so, first choose one of the 4 Chaos Gods who owes allegiance to one of the Dark Gods. Who can a character who owes allegiance to one of the Dark Gods can only attempt to summon a character from their patron. Roll up to 3 dice. This is your summoning roll. You can summon 1 new unit with the Demonic Ritual ability to the battlefield that has a power rating equal to or less than the total result, so long as it has the same Chaos God keyword you chose at the start. In the case of units that have the Chaos of Allegiance, such as Furies, the unit when summoned will have this keyword. This unit is treated as reinforcements to your army and can be placed anywhere. Army can be placed anywhere on the battlefield that is entirely within 12 inches of the character and is more than 9 inches from the enemy model. If the total rolled is insufficient to summon any unit, the ritual fails and no unit is summoned. If your summoning roll includes any doubles, your character then suffers a mortal wound. If it contains any triples, it instantly suffers D3 mortal wounds. So that can get kind of brutal. And you've got the different psychic disciplines for the Chaos Demons here. You've got the Stream of Corruption for the Nurgle discipline, a 5. Manifest, pick the closest enemy unit within 7 inches of the Psyker. The unit suffers D3 mortal wounds if it has fewer than 10 models, and D6 mortal wounds if it has 10 models or more. Virulent Blessing, Warp Charge 6. Manifest, pick a Nurgle demon unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. You can add 1 to all wound rolls made with that unit in the fight phase. Furthermore, any wound rolls of 7+ made for that unit in the fight phase inflict double damage. Pretty brutal. And then Fleshy Abundance has a warp charge value of 5. If manifested, select a friendly Nurgle demon unit within 18 inches of the Psyker. That unit recovers D3 wounds lost earlier in the battle. Slanesh discipline here. Cacophonic Choir. As a warp charge value of 7, if manifested, roll 2d6. The closest visible enemy unit within 18 inches of the psyker suffers a mortal wound for each point that the total exceeds their leadership. Symphony of Pain has a warp charge value of 6. If manifested, the nearest visible enemy unit suffers within 18 inches of the psyker is struck by unbearable pain. Your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls made for this unit until the start of your next psychic phase. And Hysterical Frenzy, if a warp charge value of 8. If manifested, select a single friendly Slanesh demon unit within 18 inches of the psyker that is within 1 inch of an enemy unit. That unit can pile in an attack as if it were the fight phase. Pretty brutal, pretty awesome. Boon of Change as a warp charge value of 7. This is Tzeentch. If manifested, select a visible friendly Tzeentch demon unit within 18 inches of the psyker and roll a d3. Consult the table below. Discover the characteristic bonus all models in that unit receive until the start of your next psychic phase. On a 1, it's +1 attack, +1 strength on a 2, and +1 toughness on a 3. So similar to that other one, the was it the Blight one? I can't remember which one it was. But it's basically the opposite of that, just giving +1 instead of -1 to the enemy, +1 to your own units, which is kind of cool. Tzeentch Discipline, Bolt of Change. As a warp charge value of 9, it manifests a single select a unit within 18 inches of the psyker. Unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. If a character is slain by the psychoparic, you can add a chaos spawn model to your army and set up within 1 inch of the character before its model is removed. So that's kind of cool. Treason of Tzeentch. As a warp charge value of 8, if manifests like a visible enemy character within 18 inches of the psyker, apart from the opponent's warlords, you can't use the opponent's warlord, then roll a 2d6. If the result is greater than the character's leadership, you can treat the model as if it were a friendly model in your army in the shooting, charge, and fight phases. At the end of the fight phase, the character reverts to being an enemy model. So that's kind of cool. You can take over someone who's not their warlord and just treat them as your own. Pretty brutal. So you got the stuff that goes over the corns of Demons of Khorne, goes over their fluff and stuff like that, which is kind of cool. So we've got, starting here, we've got Karnak. He's got a move of 10, weapon skill of 2, no ballistic skill, strength 5, toughness 5, 6 wounds, 4 attacks. He's got soul rending fangs, strength user, AP -2, damage 2. He's got demonic unstoppable ferocity, demonic ritual. Which was that one again? That was demonic ritual. That's the ability that he's the one that can summon demons. So that's what it is. It's not any chaos. Okay, now it makes sense. Not any chaos characters, any chaos character with demonic ritual. So then he's got brass collar of bloody vengeance. Karnak can attempt to deny 2 psychic powers in each enemy psychic phase. That's pretty cool instead of just the 1. He's not even a psyker. Oh, yes, he is. I guess he could do the demonic ritual. When both armies have been set up, choose 1 enemy character on the battlefield. You can add 1 to hit and wound rolls for Karnak attacks when they target this character. So, pretty cool. You've got Scarbrand here. He's got 16 wounds, so he's basically a walking land raider. Toughness 7, strength 7, ballistic skill 2. His weapon skill goes from 2 down to 4 when he's at his last 4 wounds. His attacks go up again, just like the Khorne, so he's getting angrier and angrier. He's like Hulk, so he goes from 6 to 7 to 8 as he's going down, and his movement goes from 8 to 6 to 4. His Bellow of Endless Fury is a range 8, assault D6, strength 5, AP -1, damage 1. This weapon automatically hits its target. So it doesn't ignore cover, so it's not like a true flamer, which is kind of interesting, but it does automatically hit, which is kind of cool. Slaughter of Carnage, melee, strength ×2, AP -4, damage D6. So if you're attacking that first, when he's fully healed, and you can reroll failed hit rolls for this weapon. So if you're hitting with that in that first turn, when he's still alive, when he's still fully healed, or anytime he's fully healed, he has 6 attacks. Ooh. Yeah, when he's got 6 attacks, 6 attacks base, and they can each do D6 damage, technically. So you're looking at the possibility output of 36 wounds from him in 1 round of close combat. Any rerolls failed to hits, and he's hitting on 2+. Brutal. Brutal. He's not someone you want to get close with. He's got unstoppable ferocity, demonic, and demonic ritual. He's got a 3+ save, but then that's a 5+ invul save. All units, friend or foe. Rage of Embodied. All units, friend or foe, within 8 inches of Scarbrand do not take morale tests. Can't fall back and add 1 to their attacks characteristic. Oh, that's cool, because he's just got that miasma of rage that comes out from him. Just like they talked about that affecting even Gilliman when he came across Scarbrand when they were during the Gathering Storm books, which is kind of cool. Then you've got Skull Taker. 7 move, weapon skill 2, ballistic skill 2, strength 5, toughness 4, weapon wounds 4, 4 attacks. He's got the Slayer Sword, user strength AP -3, damage 1. Any attacks with a wound roll of 6+ for this weapon have a damage characteristic of D6 instead of 1. Brutal. That's crazy. The usual stuff there: demonic, unstoppable ferocity, demonic ritual. Skull for Khorne. You can reroll failed hit and wound rolls for attacks made by Skull Taker that target a character. Locus of Decapitation. You can add 1 to hit rolls made for friendly Bloodletter units that are within 8 inches of Skull Taker in the fight phase. Pretty cool. And then you got the Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage, Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, and the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster. They look to be they got actually a little bit different stuff here. They've got the same the Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage and Unfettered Fury have the same movement, weapon skill, and attack characteristics that go from 6-4-2, 2-3-4, and 12-8-6. Insensate Rage has the Great Axe of Khorne, which is strength times 2, AP -4, strength of 7, so it goes up to a strength 14. Damage D6. Each time you roll to determine how much damage this weapon inflicts, roll 2 dice and discard the lowest result. Oh, that's brutal. That's cool. Friendly units within 6 inches of the model, Khorne Demon units within 6 inches of the model, when they take a morale test, can use this model's leadership instead of their own. That's pretty cool. The Unfettered Fury, he has the Lash of Khorne and the Axe of Khorne. The Lash of Khorne is 8-inch range, assault D3, strength user, AP -3, damage D3. This weapon can be fired within 1 inch of an enemy unit and can target enemy units within 1 inch of friendly units. So he's just whipping at them with the Lash. The Axe of Khorne is strength +3, AP -4, damage D6. They can use his leadership as well, Khorne Demon units within 6 inches of him. Then the Wrath of Khorne Bloodthirster. He has a little bit different, the same base stats as everyone there, but his ones when he gets the wound, he's got the same movement, same ballistic skill. Ballistic skill goes from 2 to 4 to 6 plus. Then his attacks go from 6 to 4 to D6. So it could jump back up there, but it also could go down to 1, which is not great. But it's just a little bit of a random bit there. So he has the Blood Flail, the Hellfire, and Axe of Khorne. The Blood Flail is Assault 1, Strength +1, AP -3, Damage 3. This weapon can be fired within 1 inch. Blah, blah, blah. Hellfire is Assault D6, Strength 5, AP -1, Damage 1. This weapon automatically hits its target. And then the Axe of Khorne is Strength +3, AP -4, Damage D6. Friendly Khorne units, Khorne Demon units within 6 inches can use his leadership, which is 10, which is pretty good. That's higher than a lot of other things. These guys, all 3 of these guys have 10. Scarbrand's only a 9, just to put it in perspective. And then he has Relentless Hunter. You can reroll any failed hit rolls for attacks made by this model against characters. Pretty cool. Then you've got the Herald of Khorne, and then you got on a Blood Throne. You can also have the Herald of Khorne on Juggernaut, and then you've got the Fleshhounds and Bloodletters. So the Herald of Khorne looks like he's got the same stuff, except on the Blood Throne, you got the usual stuff there. They've all got the Hellblade, which is strength user, AP -3. Any attacks with a wound roll of 6+ for this weapon have a damage characteristic of 2 instead of 1. It's pretty good. They've all got the Herald of Khorne has a save of 6+. But on a Blood Throne, it's a 5+. On a Juggernaut, it's 4+. They've all got Leadership 8. The Herald of Khorne has 3 attacks. Same thing as the Horn on a Juggernaut. But on the Blood Throne, he's got 5 attacks. 7 wounds on the Blood Throne. 4 attacks on the... 3 attacks, I should say. 5 attacks, yeah. Wounds, 7. 4 for the regular Herald of Khorne. 7 for on the Blood Throne. 5 on the Juggernaut. Strength 5 for all of them. Toughness 7 on the Blood Throne. Toughness 4 regular. Toughness 5 on the Juggernaut. They've all got, like I said, they've all got the Hellblade, the regular Herald Khorne. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of friendly Khorne demon units within 6 inches of 1 or more models with this ability. That's pretty cool. They've all got Herald of Khorne. Then the one on the Blood Throne also has Crushing Impact. When the Blood Throne crashes into the foe, warriors are smashed to the ground and crushed to a paste. Each time this model finishes a charge move, roll a d6 for each enemy model within 1 inch. That model's unit suffers a mortal wound for each roll of 5+. Wow, that's pretty brutal. If this model slays any models with its Crushing Impact ability, it recovers 1 wound lost earlier in the battle. Wow, pretty cool. Yeah, so it becomes a chariot. On the Juggernaut, he has Devastating Charge. A sheer impact of Juggernaut Charge can crush enemies into a paste. Add 2 to the strength of the Juggernaut's Bladed Horn attack if this model charges in the same turn. So the Bladed Horn is something that Juggernaut gets to attack with. Strength 5, AP -1, damage 1. After this model makes its close combat attacks, you can attack with its mount, make 3 additional attacks using this weapon profile. Pretty cool. Fleshhounds. Base of 5 can include up to 15 additional, so you can have a 20 squad. Collar of Khorne, the unit can attempt to deny 1 psychic power in each enemy psychic phase. Oh, that's kind of cool, because it's also got the Demonic Ritual. Oh, cool. Why has it got Demonic Ritual? Interesting. I wonder why that is. Why the Fleshhounds have that. Because I thought it said Khorne character. Or demon character, or whatever character. I don't know. Chaos character. The bloodletters look pretty standard there. You have 10 base and can include up to 20 additional, so you can have up to 30 of them. Every 10 unit models in the unit, 1 bloodletter can take an instrument of chaos. For every 10 models in the unit, 1 bloodletter can take a demonic icon. Murderous Tide, bloodletter attacking en masse are terrifying prospects, swarming forwards to eviscerate foes with their hellblades. So yeah, they've got the regular Hellblade too, which is kind of cool. You can add 1 to hit rolls made for a model in this unit whilst it contains 20 or more models. Demonic Icon, you can roll a 1 when taking a morale... if you roll a 1 when taking a morale test for this unit with a Demonic Icon, reality blinks and the Demonic Horde is bolstered. No models flee, and D6 slain bloodletters are instead added to the unit. Brutal. And then Instrument of Chaos, it includes an Instrument of Chaos, adds 1 to their advance and charge rolls. So, pretty cool. Then we've got Blood Crushers here. Movement of 8, which is pretty cool. Strength 5, Toughness 4, 3 wounds, 3 attacks, and 4 attacks for the Blood Hunter. Leadership 7 there. They've got a base of 3, and you can add up to additional 9, so you can have as many as 12 in a squad there. They've got the regular Hellblade, which we've gone over. They've got the Bladed Horn, which we went over. They've got the Devastating Charge and the Demonic Icon and all of that stuff. So, pretty cool. Skull Cannon here. It's a chariot here. The Skull Cannon is a single model equipped with the Skull Cannon and crewed by 2 bloodletters that lash out with their Hellblades. So they've got the Hellblades. Skull Cannon, this when attacking units with 10 or more models, changes weapon's type to Heavy D6, because usually it's Heavy D3, range of 36. Strength 8, AP -1, damage D3. Units targeted by this weapon do not gain any bonus for saving throws for being in cover. Pretty brutal. Crushing Impact, Skull Cannon crushes its foes to a paste. Each time the model finishes a charge move, roll a d6 for each model within 1. Suffers a mortal wound for each roll of 5+. Pretty brutal. And then the Gorefest, it heals for all of those. Alright, Demons of Tzeentch. They go over here with their fluff. We're not going to go over that. We got Kairos Fate Weaver. Wounds, 16 wounds, strength 6, toughness 7, ballistic skill 2, weapon skill 3, 6+ save. He's got the Staff of Tomorrow, so that's strength +2, AP -3, damage D6. Each time a character is slain by this weapon, you can add a Chaos Spawn model to your army, set up the Chaos Spawn within 1 inch of the character before it is removed. So he has the bonus thing to his... if your army is Battleforged, you receive an additional D3 command points of Kairos Fate Weaver as your warlord. Oh, pretty cool. He can also attempt to manifest 3 psychic powers and attempt to deny 3 psychic powers in each enemy psychic phase. He also gets, in addition, increase the range of smite power from 18 inches to 36 inches for this model. That's pretty cool. And he also gets the +2, +1, +0, depending upon his wounds, to his psychic tests. And his attacks go from 5 to 3 to 1. The Changeling, move of 6, usual stuff that's going on there. The Trickster's Staff that he has, its strength, AP, and damage are stars. When the Changeling fights, choose a melee weapon carried by any enemy infantry model within 1 inch of the Changeling. The Trickster's Staff uses that weapon's profile into the end of the phase. Oh, that's cool. So that if you charge into someone with like a really cool weapon, you get to use that. So that would be kind of interesting if you charged into, say, like one of the Bloodthirster of Unfettered Fury, and you get to use that the Axe of Corn. That'd be kind of cool. Formless Horror. When the Changeling fights, you can choose an enemy infantry model within 1 inch of the Changeling. The Changeling has the model's weapon skill, strength, toughness, and attacks characteristics until the end of the phase. Enemy infantry, so you can't take it from the giant dude bro. But you can change it from some other people that have got some good stuff, like a Power Fist or something. So you can act as their character, which is kind of cool, or as their infantry model. Locus of Transmogrification. Friendly Tzeentch demons within 9 inches of the model, when they are attacked, are surrounded by a twisting aura of change. Your opponent must subtract 1 from the hit rolls for attacks on the unit. It can manifest 1 psychic power and deny 1. So, pretty cool. Then you've got Blue Scribes. It's a single model armed with sharp quills and are borne aloft by discs of Tzeentch. Only 1 model being included in your army. Sharp quills are strength user, AP-0, damage 1. But the blades of the disc of Tzeentch, we already went over that. Enemy psychers within 12 inches of the model subtract 1 from their psychic test. If an enemy psyker within 12 inches fails a psychic test, they cannot attempt to manifest that psychic power again in this battle. And the Blue Scribes can use that psychic power in their next psychic phase. See below. Though not a psyker, the Blue Scribe automatically manifests 1 randomly selected psychic power from the Tzeentch discipline each psychic phase, plus any psychic powers they siphoned in the last enemy psychic phase. No psychic test is taken to use any of these powers. They cannot be denied. When the result of the psychic test matters, the psychic power is treated as having been manifested with the minimum roll possible and without rolling a double. So basically, I guess like a 3, or no, minimum without double. Okay, so if it's like if you need 6, then it would be a 7. Okay, or no, you would be 6. So without doubles. Okay, Lord of Change. Looks to be he's got a better weapon skill than Kairos Fate Weaver. He's got the same everything else. It looks like 2, 1, 5. He's got a better attacks in the middle and lower level than Kairos Fate Weaver. But he's got the Baleful Sword and the Staff of Tzeentch. The Baleful Sword is strength +1, AP -3, damage D6. When attacking this weapon, you must subtract 1 from the hit rolls. Oh, so it's harder to hit with it. So you would be hitting on 3s with that. Or you can use the Staff of Tzeentch, strength user, AP -2, damage 3. Each time a character is, so it's the same thing that, or similar to, a little worse than, actually way worse, never mind. But he has that same special ability with it that Kairos Fate Weaver had. You can turn characters into spawns. And you can either take one or the other. You can't take both. Both. Friendly Tzeentch demon units within 6 inches of the model, when they take a morale test, can use the model's leadership instead of their own. Pretty good. Increase the range of the model's smite power from 18 to 30 inches. It can manifest 2 psychic powers, and deny 2 psychic powers. Whenever Lord of Change attempts to manifest or deny psychic power, add the bonus. So it's 2, 1, 0, as usual there. All right, so we've got the Herald of Tzeentch. We got the Herald of Tzeentch on a disc and Herald of Tzeentch on a burning chariot. That's kind of cool. The move is 6, 12, 14. Got the same weapon skill and ballistic skill, same strength and toughness. Oh, the toughness goes up to 5 on the chariot, but not on the disc. 4 wounds until you get onto the chariot, then it's 8 wounds. 2 attacks until you get on the chariot, then it's 3 attacks. And he's got a 5+ save on the Chariot versus a 6+ save elsewhere. They've got add 1 to the strength characteristic friendly Tzeentch demons within 6 inches of one or more of these models. It's got all of them have that. Staff of Change, they all have that, so that's increased the range of this model's smite power from 18 to 24. Pretty good. And they've got 1 psychic power, and 1 psychic power. They've all got the Ritual Dagger, which is strength user AP -1. Each time this weapon slays an enemy model, the bearer recovers one wound lost earlier in the battle. That's pretty cool. The Tzeentch on a disc also has the blades that he gets to use. Then the one on the Chariot has some extra stuff. So they've got the Herald of Tzeentch is Burning Chariot, a single model armed with the Ritual Dagger and borne aloft, Burning Chariot drawn by the Screamers that attack with their slashing talons and Lamprey Bite. So the Lamprey Bite is strength 6, AP -3, damage 2. After the Herald of Tzeentch makes his close combat attacks, you can attack with the Screamers, make 2 additional attacks using this weapon profile, make 4 additional attacks using the weapon profile of the Slashing Talons, which are strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. So, pretty cool. You've got Horrors. Pink, blue, and a pair of Brimstone Horrors. Their move is 6. Weapon skill is 4, 5, 5 respectively. Ballistic skill is 4, dash, respectively. You've got the strength of 3, 2, and 1. Toughness 3, 3, 3. 1 wound each. 2 attacks for the pair of Brimstone Horrors. 1 attack each for the other ones. 7 leadership. A unit contains 10 pink, blue, or a pair of Brimstone Horrors in any combination. It can include up to 10 additional horrors or up to 20 additional horrors. So up to 30 horrors you can have there. Pink horrors are armed with coruscating flames. Blue horrors and Brimstone horrors simply scrabble at anyone who comes too close. So the coruscating flame for the pink horrors, it's range 18, assault 2, strength 3, AP 0, 1 damage. Iridescent horror. When you set up this unit for the first time, you may select a single pink horror in the unit. That model has an attacks characteristic of 2 instead of 1. Magic Made Manifest. A unit of horrors can attempt to manifest 1 psychic power in each friendly psychic phase and attempt to deny 1 psychic power in each enemy psychic phase. However, when you do so, only roll a single d6 for the psychic test or deny the witch test and use the result of the single dice roll to determine the outcome. Note that this means that horrors will never suffer perils of the warp. Split. Each time a pink horror is slain, you can add up to 2 blue horrors to this unit before you remove the slain pink horror. Each time a blue horror is slain, you can add 1 pair of Brimstone horrors to the unit before you remove the slain blue horror. The replacement model cannot be placed within 1 inch of the enemy model. Note that horrors that flee do not generate any extra models for their unit. Match play. In match play, you must pay reinforcement points for each and every blue and Brimstone horror model that you add to a unit of horrors, but the additional models can take the unit above its starting strength. That's pretty cool. If you roll a 1 when making a morale test for these units of any demonic icon, reality blinks. No models flee, and D6 slain pink horrors are instead added to the unit. Slain horrors. So if you're at full strength, you can't bolster higher than that for that, which is kind of interesting. Instrument of Chaos includes Instrument of Chaos, adds 1 to their advance and charge rolls. Flamers. Unit contains 1 Pyrocaster and 2 Flamers. The difference between the Pyrocaster and the Flamer is just 1 extra attack. You can add up to additional 6 Flamers. They've got Flickering Flame, 8-inch pistol D6, which means they can attack in close combat with them, which is pretty cool. Strength 4, AP -1, 1 damage. This weapon automatically hits its target. Exalted Flamer. It's got less of a move, higher weapon skill, higher the same ballistic skill. Everything else is the same except for the wounds. They go up to 4 on the Exalted Flamer versus the 2. And they've got the 3 attacks that the Pyrocaster has instead of the Flamer. And higher leadership. 1 higher leadership than them. So he's got the Fire of Tzeentch. When attacking with this weapon, choose one of the profiles below. Either 18 inches, heavy D3, strength 9, AP -4, D3 damage, or that's blue, and then pink is range 8, pistol D6, strength 5, AP -2, damage 1. This weapon automatically hits its target. Pretty cool. Tongues of Flame is a melee weapon. Strength user, AP -1, 1 damage. Then you've got the Screamers. They can move 16 inches. Wow, that's crazy. And also a slash attack. The unit advances and that move takes it over any enemy units. You can choose one of those units and roll a d6 for each screamer in the unit. Any rolls of 6 inflict a mortal wound on the enemy unit. Pretty cool. So they can just like, as they come over them, they can just scream over them and rip apart a unit, which is pretty brutal. And they've got the lamprey bite and slashing talons that we talked about before with the burning chariot. But they've got 2 wounds each, which is pretty cool, and 3 attacks. So, burning chariot, it's the same thing as we talked about here, that we talked about before, except they've got it looks like it's an exalted flamer on top of them. So he's got that same power that we talked about, or the same shooting thing that he can choose the profiles below with the fire of Tzeentch and the tongues of flame. And then the screamers still have their attacks in there, just like with the burning chariot before with the exalted guy on top of it. Or not the exalted guy, what is it? With the herald on top of it. So pretty cool. Then we got the Demons of Nurgle. Epidemius. He's got 8 wounds, toughness 5, strength 5, 5 move. He's got a plague sword, is a single model armed with a plague sword and born into battle magnificent palanquin of Nurglings that rip and tear. So the plague sword is strength user, AP 0, damage 1. You can reroll failed wound rolls for this weapon. Nurgling's claws and teeth from the palanquin, strength 2, AP 0, damage 1. This model can make close combat attacks. You can attack with this mount, make D6 additional attacks using this weapon profile. You can reroll failed wound rolls of 1 for this attack. It's got some abilities here. Tally of Pestilence. The Tally of Pestilence starts the battle at 0. Add 1 to the tally whenever an enemy unit is destroyed by a Nurgle demon unit, friend or foe. And look up the result on the chart below. The results are cumulative. 0 to 1 tally, no effect. 2, reroll hit rolls of 1 for all friendly Nurgle demons. 3, increase the move characteristic of friendly Nurgle demons by 1. 4, increase the strength characteristic by 1. 5, increase the toughness characteristic by 1. 6, increase the attacks characteristic by 1. And 7 or more reroll rolls of 1 for friendly Nurgle demons, disgusting resilient ability. So you get to reroll 1s on those feel no pains for those guys. That's pretty cool. Then you've got a Great Unclean One. Oh man, these guys are cool. Wounds 12, weapon skill 2. Ballistic skill goes from 2 to 6, depending upon his wounds. His attacks go from 5 to 3, depending upon his wounds. And his move goes from 7 to 3, based upon his its wounds. He's got the Plague Flail, which is range 7, assault 2 user, strength user, which is strength 6. AP -3, damage 2. This weapon can be fired within 1 inch of an enemy unit and can target an enemy unit within 1 inch of a friendly unit. And then you've got the Bile Sword, which is strength +1, AP -3, damage D6. You can reroll failed wound rolls for this weapon. Then he's accompanied by giggling Nurglings that rip the enemy of their claws and teeth. So you've got the Nurglings, which is strength 2. We've already gone over that. Reroll 1s. You get to, after a model accompanied by Nurglings makes its close combat attacks, you can attack with the Nurglings, make D6 additional attacks using the weapon profile. Friendly Nurgle demon units within 6 inches of the model can make a morale test. That make a morale test can use this model's leadership value instead. And his leadership is 10, so that's pretty cool. That helps. And he can manifest 2 psychic powers, and deny can manifest 2 psychic powers in each friendly psychic phase, and attempt to deny 1 psychic power in the enemy psychic phase. So pretty good. I've got a Herald of Nurgle, and you've got Plague Bearers, Herald of Nurgle. The usual stuff there. Add 1 to the strength characteristics of friendly Nurgle demons within 6 inches of 1 or more models with this ability. He can manifest 1 psychic power and attempt to deny 1 psychic power. He's got 3 attacks. Pretty good. He's got the Plague Sword. And then the Plague Bearers all have the Plague Sword. Base 10 can include up to 20 additional, so you can have 30 squad of Plague Bearers. Cloud of Flies. Large groups of Plague Bearers attract great clouds of flies and buzz about them, obscuring them from view. The unit contains 20 or more models at the start of a phase. Your opponent must subtract 1 from all hit rolls for attacks that target them. 10 take an icon, roll a 1, demonic icon. If you roll a 1 when taking a morale test for a unit with a demonic icon, reality blinks, and they D6 come back. Unit includes any instrument of chaos, adds 1 to the advance and charge rolls. Then you've got the Nurglings, move 5. You have contains 3 Nurgling swarms, up to 3 additional Nurgling swarms, 6 additional. So you have up to additional 6, so you can have up to 9 swarms. They've got 4 wounds each, strength 2, toughness 2. When you set up a unit of Nurglings during deployment, they can either set up on in the deployment zone or anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches from the enemy deployment zone. Because of their diminutive size, Nurglings only receive the benefit of their disgustingly resilient ability against attacks with a damage characteristic of 1. So they can be doubled out, I guess. So if you're shooting at them with anything that does damage 2, they don't get to have that feel no pain. So it's like a form of doubling out. Then we have the Beasts of Nurgle. Unit contains 1 Beast of Nurgle, include up to 8 additional Beasts of Nurgle. So you can have up to... what is that? Up to 9 Beasts of Nurgle. That's pretty cool. They have 4 wounds each, toughness 5, strength 4, movement 6, attacks D6. So that's kind of cool. They have a putrid appendage as their weapon. Strength user, AP 0, damage 2. You can reroll failed wound rolls for this weapon. Beasts of Nurgle sometimes feel left out of the fun, so bound forth to join in whenever they can. This unit can perform heroic interventions as if it were characters. Oh, that's kind of cool. Plague drones. 1 plague drone and 1 plague bringer and 2 plague drones can include an additional 3, additional 6. So additional 6. You can have as many as 9 plague drones in there. They ride on the rot flies. So they have the rider has a plague sword and then Death's Head. Death's Head is a range 12, assault 2, can reroll wound rolls of 1 for this weapon. Strength 4. Melee is base user, damage 1, can reroll failed wound rolls for this weapon. Prehensile Proboscis, strength 4, AP 0, damage 2. After a model in the mount makes a close combat attack, makes its close combat attacks you can attack with its mount. Make 4 additional attacks using this weapon profile. You can reroll failed wounds when making this attack. Demonic Icon. If you roll a 1 when taking the morale test for your unit Demonic Icon, reality blinks. No models fleeing 1 plague drone can come back. And then include any instrument chaos, adds 1 to its advance and charge roll. So pretty cool there. They've got 3 wounds each, 2 attacks for the plague bringer, 1 for the plague drones, strength 4. So should be interesting. Now we've got the Demons of Slaanesh. We've got the Mask of Slaanesh here. Movement 8 inches, strength 2, weapon 2, ballistic skill 2, I should say, strength 4, toughness 3, 4 wounds, 5 attacks, leadership 8, 6+ save there. They've got she's got the piercing claws, strength user, AP -1, damage 1. Each time you make a wound roll of 6+ for this weapon, that is resolved with AP of -4 instead of -1. So it's like a form of the old Rend, which is kind of cool. Dazzling Acrobatics, the Mask of Slaanesh can advance and or fall back and still charge in the same turn. Oh, that's kind of cool. So they can fall back and then make the charge if they so desire, or charge a different model, I'm sure, at that point, which is kind of cool. So it's just kind of like bouncing between battles, which is kind of interesting. Locus of Beguilement. Your opponent must subtract 1 from any hit rolls that target a demonette unit within 6 inches of this model in the fight phase. So that's kind of interesting. They can use that where they can fall back and then charge back in so they can position themselves better to get that little bubble over more of their units of demonettes. That's pretty interesting. At the beginning of each fight phase, choose an enemy unit within 1 inch of the model. For the rest of the phase, add 1 to any hit rolls that target the chosen unit. So she can really, really boost up the demonettes here, which is pretty cool. Then you have the Keeper of Secrets. Single model armed with a Wit Stealer sword and Snapping Claws. Snapping Claws are strength user, AP -2, damage 3. Each time the model fights, it can make D3 additional attacks with this weapon. Each time you make a wound roll of 6+ to this weapon, the hit is resolved at AP of -4 instead of -1. Oh no, instead of -1. I think that was a misprint. I think it's supposed to be instead of the -2 because they show it's -2. The model has it's a monster, so it's got its attacks go from 6 to 5 to 4 because it's got 12 wounds, the Keeper Secrets, which is kind of cool. Toughness 7. Strength goes from 6 to 5 to 4, and its movement goes from 12 to 9 to 6. Its leadership 10, 2+ weapon skill, which is pretty cool. Then the Witsealer Sword is strength +1, AP -3, damage 3. Subtract 1 from hit rolls made for a model that has suffered any wounds from this weapon without being slain. Pretty brutal. Friendly Slaanesh demon units within 6 inches of the model, when they make a morale test, can use her leadership instead, which is pretty cool. It can manifest 2 psychic powers and attempt to deny 1 psychic power in the enemy's psychic phase. Then you've got the Herald of Slaanesh, piercing claws, so AP -1, and the same thing. On a 6+ wound, it's AP -4 instead of -1. Add 1 to the strength characteristic, friendly Slaanesh demons within 6 inches. 4 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 8, pretty good. Move of 7, so pretty good. Then you've got the Herald of Slaanesh on a steed. Movement becomes 14 at that point. Piercing claws are the same. Lashing tongue, model, it's strength 4, AP 0, damage 1. Make 2 additional attacks with this after you do your regular attacks. Then you've got the regular Herald of Slaanesh that I just said. Then Unholy Speed. This model can advance and charge in the same turn. Oh, that's pretty cool. Slaanesh on Seeker Chariot, which is kind of cool. Seeker Chariot is movement 12. Weapon skill, ballistic skill 2 each. Strength 4, toughness 5, 7 wounds, 6 attacks. The Lashes of Torment are range 6, assault D6. They can do the same thing, attacking in combat, so it's basically like a pistol. Piercing Claws, same thing, -4 instead of 1 on a 6. Lashing Tongues from the Steed of Slaanesh. They get to make 4 additional attacks with this weapon when they make close combat attacks. Then you've got the Herald of Slaanesh, which adds the same thing, adds 1 to the strength characteristic. And then Scything Impact. When a Seeker Chariot crashes into the foe, warriors are scythed down and dismembered. Each time the Herald of Slaanesh on Seeker Chariot finishes a charge move, roll a d6 for each enemy model within 1 inch. That model's unit suffers a mortal wound for each roll of 6. Pretty brutal. Then you've got the Herald of Slaanesh on Exalted Seeker Chariot. It's got 12 wounds. It becomes, Exalted. So there's on the Seeker Chariot and then the Exalted Seeker Chariot. The Exalted Seeker Chariot looks like it goes up to 12 wounds, and then it has the damage table on here. So its attacks go from 8 to 6 to 4. Its weapon skill goes from 2 to 4 to 6. Movement goes from 12 to 10 to 8 as it takes wounds. So starting at 12, going down from there. It's got the same weapons as the Herald of Slaanesh on a Seeker Chariot. The Scything Impact. Model suffers a mortal wound for each roll of a 5+ instead of a 6. So that's pretty cool. Then you've got the Demonettes. Here's the Demonettes right down here. So we've got the 7-inch move for them. 3, 3, 3, 3. 1 wound. 2 attacks, 3 attacks for the Alluris. 7 leadership. Base 10 can include up to 20, so you can have another squad of 30. So I guess like the main demon units can be up to 30 models each, which is kind of huge. Their Piercing Claws are the same thing, AP -1, but becomes AP -4 on rolls to wounds of 6. Graceful Killer, increase the attack characteristics for each model in this unit by 1 whilst it contains 20 or more models. If you roll a 1 when taking a morale test, come back with D6 slain demonettes and +1 to advance and charge rolls with an Instrument of Chaos. So pretty cool. You have the Fiends of Slaanesh. 14-inch move, 3+ weapon skill, strength 4, toughness 4, 3 wounds, 4 attacks. Dissecting Claws, strength user AP -1, same thing. It's just a damage of 2 on this one, but AP -4 on a wound of a 6+. Vicious Barbed Tail on the Fiend. You can have up to 9 Fiends in this group. And it has strength user AP -3, damage D3. And a model can only make a single attack with this weapon each time it fights. Okay, so that's interesting. So each model is armed with dissecting claws and a vicious barbed tail. Can only make a single attack with this weapon each time it fights. So I wonder if you can use the 1 for that and then 3 attacks with the dissecting claws. That'd be something to find out about. Because I think you can just choose which weapons you use. So if you can only use the 1 attack with that one, then you can use the rest of them with the dissecting claws. So it's enemy psychers within 12 inches of any fiends of Slaanesh must subtract 1 from the results of any psychic test they take. Enemy units within 1 inch of the fiends of Slaanesh cannot fall back unless they can fly. Interesting. It's just the soporific musk, so it just draws them in with the scent. So then you've got the Hellflayer, a single model which carves through the enemy with his bladed axle. It's crewed by Exalted Allurus, which attacks with its piercing claws and drawn by 2 steeds of Slaanesh that whip the foe with their tongues. Each steed is ridden by seekers. Each steed is ridden by seekers that attack with their piercing claws and lashes of torment. Interesting. So they've got 4 attacks, a 12-inch move, toughness 5. The usual stuff for the lashes of torment. I've gone over that, I think, a couple times. And piercing claws. Then you've got the bladed axle of the Hellflayer chariot. Strength times 2, AP minus 1, 2 damage. After the riders make their close combat attacks, you can attack with the bladed axle of the Hellflayer chariot. Make D6 additional attacks using this weapon profile. Pretty cool, pretty brutal. And then the lashing tongues. Make 4 attacks with those. Then you've got the Seekers, 14-inch move, 2 wounds, 2 attacks, 3 attacks if you're the Heartseeker. Piercing claws, we've gone over. Lashing tongue, we've gone over. This unit can advance and charge in the same turn. Demonic icon, if you roll a 1 when taking a morale test. D3 slain seekers come back, and it includes +1 to its advance and charge rolls. You can have base of 5, and you can have an additional 15, so you can have a squad of 20 seekers. And then you've got Seeker Chariot, which is range 12, movement 12, 3 wounds 6, attacks 4, toughness 5, strength 4. You got the Lashes of Torment, the Piercing Claws, and the Lashing Tongues as usual with all of them. When a Chariot Seeker crashes into the foe, the D6 roll a D6 for each model within 1 inch when they charge, and they get a mortal wound on a roll of a 6. That unit, so pretty cool. Exalted Seeker Chariot. So this is 10 wounds, toughness 5, strength 4. Same goes down, movement from 12 to 10 to 8 as it goes down in its wounds. Weapon skill goes from 2 to 4 to 6 as it gets down in its wounds. It's got the Lashes of Torment, Piercing Claws, we've all gone over, Slashing Tongues, and it does the Scything Impact. But except it's a 5+ on models. They suffer a mortal wound on a 5+ on that D6 roll. So, pretty brutal. Alright, then we've got the Chaos Demons here. Going back here, we've got Be'lakor. He's got 8 wounds, toughness 6, strength 6, movement 14. He's got the Blade of Shadows, which is strength +1, AP -5. -5. So he's completely ignoring AP 2, armor 2, because 2 becomes 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. And then 5 becomes less than 6, so he doesn't even get a save. So his Blade of Shadows is completely ignoring 2+ armor. That's pretty brutal. Malefic Talons. He's got a strength user, AP -2, damage 2. Each time this model fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. So, pretty cool. Then he's got subtract 1 from the leadership of enemy units that are within 12 inches of Be'lakor in the morale phase. Prince of Chaos, you can reroll any failed hit rolls of 1 made from friendly demon units within 6 inches of Be'lakor. You can reroll failed saving throws for Be'lakor Shadow Form. So any saving throws, he gets to reroll, which is pretty brutal because he's got a save of 4+ there. And he's got demonic, so it's a 5+ invul save if it gets below anything. He can attempt to manifest 2 psychic powers in the psychic phase, attempt to deny 1 during the enemy psychic phase. Now I got the Demon Prince of Chaos down here. Regular Demon Prince of Chaos. You can have a maybe place a Hellforged Sword with a demonic axe or a second set of Malefic Talons. It can may take a Warp Bolter. Model can have wings if it does so. Move characteristic is increased to 12 inches and gains the fly keyword. So his move is 8, but it can increase to 12 if he takes wings. The Warp Bolter is 24 inches, assault 2, strength 4, AP -1, damage 2. Demonic Axe is strength +1, AP -3, damage 3. When attacking with this weapon, you must subtract 1 from the hit roll. Hellforged Sword, melee user, AP -2, damage 3. Malefic Talons, the user, strength user, AP -2, damage 2. Each time the model fights, it can make 1 additional attack with this weapon. A model armed with 2 sets of Malefic Talons can make 3 additional attacks with them instead. Pretty cool. Demonic Allegiance. When you include this model in your army, you must choose which of the 4 Chaos Gods it owes its allegiance to. It then gains the appropriate keywords. Khorne Demon Princes have the Unstoppable Ferocity ability. Tzeentch Demon Princes gain Ephemeral Form. Nurgle Demon Princes gain the Disgustingly Resilient ability. And Slaanesh Demon Princes gain the Quicksilver Swiftness ability. Prince of Chaos, you can reroll hit rolls of 1 made for friendly demon units within 6 inches, but only if they owe their allegiance to the same Chaos God. So it doesn't care about the other ones, only the same Chaos God. Might over Magic. Khorne Demon Prince increases its attacks characteristic by 1. Because the other ones can attempt to manifest 1 psychic power in the friendly phase and deny 1 psychic power during the opponent's psychic phase. Chaos Furies. They have a 12-inch move, contain 5, and can include up to 15 additional, so you can have a squad of 20. Strength 4, toughness 3, 1 wound, 2 attacks, leadership 6, 6+ armor. They've got their Demonic Claws, strength user, AP 0, damage 1. You have to tell what they're, who they are loyal to when you choose them. And Prey on the Weak, roll a d6 each time an enemy unit fails a morale test within 12 inches of Chaos Furies. On a 4+, an additional model from that same unit is slain. Oh, brutal. That's kind of crazy. Then you've got the Soul Grinder. So he's got 14 wounds. Crazy. Toughness 7, strength 8. Weapon skill 4. Its ballistic skill changes from 4 to 5 to 5 based on its wounds. Movement becomes 8, 6, 4, and its attacks go 3, 3, D3. He's got the Harvester Cannon, which is heavy 3, strength 7, AP -1, D3 damage. The Phlegm Bombardment is heavy D3, strength 8, AP -2, damage 3. Iron Claw is melee, strength ×2, AP -3, damage D6. The Warp Claw is strength user, AP -2, damage D3. Make 2 hit rolls for each attack made with this weapon instead of 1. So basically doubling your attacks if you use the Warp Claw instead of the Iron Claw. And then you have Warp Sword, strength user, AP -3, damage 3. You can reroll failed hit rolls for this weapon. You have to give a Demonic Allegiance to it, and if it reduces 0 wounds, you can it can blow up. So pretty interesting. The Questor Traitoris. So we've got the Renegade Knight here. Going over here, he's got 24 wounds, strength 8, toughness 8, 4 attacks, leadership 9. Its movement goes from 12 to 9 to 6. Its weapon skill goes from 3 to 4 to 5. And its ballistic skill goes from 3 to 4 to 5 as it gets wounded as it goes down. So it's got an Avenger Gatling Cannon there. It can have heavy 12, strength 6, AP -2, heavy Flamer, heavy Stubber, Iron Storm Missile Pods, which are heavy D6. Same thing as heavy Flamer, heavy D6. But the Iron Storm Missile Pods are range 12. They're strength 5, AP -2. This weapon can target units that are not visible to the bearer, so it just ignores line of sight with that, which is pretty cool. Meltagun is 12 inches. Assault 1, strength 8, AP -4, damage D6. If the target is within half range of this weapon, roll 2 dice when inflicting damage with it and discard the lowest result. Rapid Fire Battle Cannon, heavy 2d6, strength 8, AP -2, damage D3. Storm Spear Rocket Pod, Thermal Cannon. Thermal Cannon is heavy D3, strength 9, AP -4, damage D6. When attacking units with 5 or more models, change this weapon's type to heavy D6. If the target is within half range, roll 2 dice when inflicting damage and discard the lowest result. Then you have the Twin Icarus Autocannon, range 48 inches, heavy 2, strength 7, AP -1. Add 1 to hit rolls when hit rolls made for this weapon against targets that can fly. Subtract 1 from hit rolls made against all other targets. Thunderstrike Gauntlet. Subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made with this weapon. If you slay a vehicle or monster with a Thunder Strike Gauntlet, select an enemy unit within 9 inches and roll a d6. On a 4+, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds as the dead body or debris is thrown at it. Pretty awesome. I love that. So that's strength times 2. That's becomes strength 16. AP minus 4, 6 damage. Titanic Feet. Make 3 hit rolls for each attack made with this weapon instead of 1. So strength user, minus 2 to AP, damage D3. Ion Shield has a 5+ invul save against shooting attacks. If this model is reduced to 0 points on D6, on a 6 it explodes. Each unit within 2d6 inches suffers d6 mortal wounds. Knight Titan, a Renegade Knight, can fall back in the movement phase and still shoot and or charge during its turn. When a Renegade Knight falls back, it can even move over enemy infantry models, though at the end of its move phase, it must be more than 1 inch from all enemy units. In addition, a Renegade Knight can move and fire heavy weapons without suffering the penalty to its hit roll. Finally, a Renegade Knight only gains a bonus to its save in cover if at least half of the model is obscured from the firer. So that's pretty cool. And you just have to pay for all the points for that stuff. Then you've got the Chaos Bastion here. Which is 0 move, obviously. Weapon skill 0. Ballistic skill 5. Toughness 10. Wounds 20. Leadership 6. So it can be armed. It has a heavy bolter, Icarus, las cannon, quad gun. On the Icarus cannon, it's got the same thing where you're shooting at a flyer. You get to add 1, minus 1 for anyone else. Its abilities. It's a mobile model cannot move for any reason, nor can it fight in the fight phase. Enemy models automatically hit the model in the fight phase. Do not make hit rolls. However, the model can still shoot if there are enemy models within 1 inch of it, and friendly units can still target enemy units that are within 1 inch of this model. Automated weapons. Unless a friendly unit is embarked inside the model, each of its weapons can only target the nearest visible enemy. If 2 units are equally close, you may choose which is targeted. Fire points. 10 models embarked in this model can shoot in their shooting phase, measured and drawn line of sight from any point on this model. They can do this even if the enemy models are within 1 inch of this model. Magazine explosion. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds before removing the model from the battlefield, before any models disembark, roll a d6. On a 6, its magazine explodes, and each unit within 2d6 suffers d3 mortal wounds. Designer note, if you cannot physically remove this model from your battlefield when it is destroyed because, for example, it is glued to the surface, then regardless of whether its magazine explodes or not, it is wrecked. From that point on, models can no longer embark inside it. It can no longer shoot, etc. Transport models can transport any number of infantry characters and 1 other infantry unit up to a maximum of 20 models. When you embark models into the Chaos Bastion, you may find it is useful to place some of them on the battlements to remind you which units are inside the fortification. That's just a designer note. Pretty cool. Also, the photos in here are really cool. I always love looking at the photos. It's like one of my favorite parts of any of the GW books is just checking out the photos that they have. So then they have over here forming the battle-forged armies, but you can go over that when you got the regular stuff. They've got ways to make army roster, which is kind of interesting. Detachment rosters, which is kind of interesting. Then, Heretic Astartes points values. So, Chaos Bikers are 31 points each. Does not include the war gear. Let's see if they have, if the twin bolter is 9, warp bolter. Never mind. Twin. Oh, how does that go? Twin bolters? They don't have twin bolters. I wonder why that is. Maybe they don't have the bolters? Hold on a second. Let me check this out. Because there's a couple things. Basically, when you're building these units now, they have to be... You take the base unit, and then you... Oh, maybe they're not... Were they not in here? Did I not see... Chaos Bikers, yeah. Each model is armed with a bolt pistol, frag grenade, and crack grenades. Rides a bike equipped with a combi bolter. Oh, okay. So they've got a combi bolter instead of a twin bolter. My bad. So you've got the Chaos Bikers, 31 points each. And then you would have to go and buy the combi bolter for 2 points. It makes them up to 33. But then the bolt pistols are, what is it? Bolt pistol. Yeah, bolt pistols 0, and crack grenades and all that stuff are 0 too. So there's certain weapons that are considered to be just part of the unit, like bolt pistols and crack grenades and things like that. But other ones you do have to pay for, like this, like the combi bolter is 2 points. So that 31 points doesn't include that, and you have to conclude that, so it becomes a 33-point model. Chaos Cultists are 5 points each, and then they have like the models per unit that you can have there, so they can have up to 40 units, which is kind of cool. 40 models in their unit. Yeah, but they go through the different point values that they've got there. Land Raider is 239, but then you have to pay for all the different stuff. Like a twin las cannon is regular las cannon is 25 points, and a twin las cannon is 50 points. So like sponsons, it doesn't matter if you're buying a las cannon for a sponson on a Land Raider, or if you're putting it onto like an infantry model. They all cost the same, which is interesting. Now I like that it's like a las cannon, no matter where you put it, is 25 points as you're going on there. The most expensive weapon upgrade that you have that you can put here is the Hades Gatling cannon, which I think is on the I think that was the Lord of Skulls that you had that you could put on there. Which, speaking of the Lord of Contagion, units. The Lord of Skulls. Where is the Lord of Skulls? Oh, the Khorne Lord of Skulls is 465 points. So that's kind of brutal. And you start adding on some of those points, it's going to get very expensive very quick. The icons are 10 points each. The grenades are all 0 points each. Melee weapons, the most expensive one is the Hellbrute Fist, which is 40 points, or Hellbrute Hammer, which is 52 points. Demonic Axe is 45 points, 45 for the Plague Reaper, 43 for the Power Scourge. But then it goes, a lot of them are 0, like 0 points for the Great Cleaver of Khorne, because that's basically included in the model point cost when they figure those out. Then they got the Chaos Demon point sets here. 340 points base for the Bloodthirster of Insensate Rage. Then you have with the Demonic Axe is 45 points, for instance. Demon Prince of Chaos is 146 points. Demon Prince of Chaos with Wings is 170 points. So you're paying an additional 24 points for wings to get it fly and increase and all that stuff. The Skull Cannon is 147 points to add on to it. 380 points is 380 points for Scarbrand. 400 points for Kairos Fate Weaver, which is kind of interesting. Keeper of Secrets, 223 points. Lord of Change is 340 points. 355 for the Lord of Change with a Baleful Sword. So they just have it kind of included there. Because these ones are these ones here, like Bellicor and all of these guys, including war gear for them. Oh, that's kind of interesting. So for these ones, including war gear, for the Plague, for the demons here, including the war gear, is all of their points, which is interesting. Does not include war gear for all of the Astartes, because I guess they've just got too much stuff that you can pick and choose. But for instance, when it says does not include war gear, you have to add it. So like I said, the Chaos Biker, 31 points, but you do have to add the Combi Bolter, which is 2 points. So they've got all those, but these looks like the demons all include their own war gear, whatever they have, because you don't have much of a choice. Except for the Demon Princes that do not include war gear, so you do have to add on to them. For those. And then the Questor's Trader's point value is 320 points, but does not include the war gear. So then you have to add it all with whatever you want to add on to it. So you have Thunderstrike Gauntlets 35, Reaper Chainswords 30, 100 points for a Rapid Fire Battle Cannon, that kind of stuff. The Bastion does not include war gear, so you have to add all of that stuff. And then they've got all of the profiles for all the weapons in the back here. So if you just want to look up something, they've got them on here, because I don't think like regular Marines, the regular Chaos Marines, they don't have all of the weapons that they can use listed on their thing. You just have to look up some of the stuff in the back here. Yeah, and that's basically what you've got. Then the demons, they've got all of their stuff here. So yeah, that's the new Index Chaos book. I think it's pretty awesome. I think Chaos is going to be very strong in this edition. They're one of the main characters, obviously, in the story going forward that they have. So I think they're going to make them a big part of the game itself as well. So I think all of you Chaos fans should be pretty interested in checking out the new edition. I think they're going to be pretty brutal. The way they've made changes to both shooting and assault has made it a very interesting time for Chaos, because I think they have a lot of units that are very good in assault, and I think assault has really been bumped up a bit. I don't think it's just taken over from shooting like a lot of people have been saying. I think it's what they've done is they've made the assault just as important as the shooting, where in 7th edition I feel like it wasn't. I feel like shooting really took the main focus for how the game went. So yeah, I hope you guys have all enjoyed checking this out. Be sure to check out Mob Rules. Check out our podcast. Well, I think we probably have a link in the description below for that. Check out our Facebook page, and also while you're at it, may as well check out the Glacial Geek, where I've got my weekly deep thoughts, and I've also got 2 battle reports every week, liking to alternate between a smaller kind of kill team kind of game and a regular battle report every week. So I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. I thought it was pretty interesting. I'm pretty excited about this edition and pretty excited about the Chaos Index. I think it's going to be pretty cool to see a lot of my friends who play the Chaos, and I'll give those the Fallen a try, because it's always fun to play chaotic guys from time to time. So I hope you guys all enjoyed that, and check out the rest of our reviews between John and Ted and I for the other indexes that have been coming out. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it, and have fun out there with 8th edition. Thank you.